This podcast is brought to you by lineupmedia.fm.
You know what they say about one bad apple? Well, we've got two. Gather round, boys and girls, and get ready for a different kind of story time. It's American Animals. All your favorite athletes, entertainers, and weirdos are coming to you like you've never heard them before. It's uncensored. It's not safe for work. It's a goddamn zoo. From the OC to oh shit. Join Erik, Bad, Apple, and Ian, Uncle Creepy McCall. Get some.
All right, well, welcome to American Animals with Erik Apple and Ian McCall here on Dash. And we're up and running, Ian. It's been a little while that we've been trying to get this thing going, but we are ready to rock here on Dash Radio.
It's been a few months, and I'm very excited to get this going. You know, it all kind of fell into our laps, and, you know, we have a good setup going here.
Well, for those people who don't know, Ian McCall sitting next to me is a lifelong friend. Ian is one of the top 5 flyweights in the world of mixed martial arts, fighting in the UFC. He's been so close to taking home a title. Myself, I've actually gotten paid to do 4 sports now. Fighting's one of them. I've also pretended to be a race car driver at one point, a professional surfer, and a BMXer at one point.
Now, out of all 4 of those, what were you worst at?
Oh, racing cars, 100%. But
that was a setup.
Because I didn't have the opportunity. So, I mean, we don't have to talk. We're not going to talk all about us right now. But we are here, ready to go for Dash Radio, and we're stoked. And Dash Radio is really something that's going to be blowing up and going to be available in so many new cars moving forward in 2016 and 2017. It's going to exponentially grow. And, you know, if you don't already have the app on your phone, make sure you get it. If you're listening in someone else's house or someone else's phone, make sure you get it so you can check out American Animals. And what do you think about the name of the show, Ian?
I like it. You know, we are American, for one, born and raised.
And we're definitely animals.
We are definitely animals. So, you know, it's a rare breed. We are a rare breed. Too weird to live and too rare to die.
Well, one thing that we originally wanted to call the show, we wanted to call the show The Shit Show. And both of us thought it was amazing because I would love nothing more than to be like, hey, welcome back to The Shit Show, or you're listening to The Shit Show. But the problem is I don't think any sponsors would want to pay for this, and we can't do this for free forever, can we?
Now, if there are any sponsors out there that don't mind paying us
we'll change the name.
Money, we'll change the name to The Shit Show just for you. But, you know, it's going to cost you.
I would really, really love to say, like, welcome to The Shit Show. Thank you very much for joining us. I mean, because, you know, like it or not, whether it's cool or not, we are pretty much a shit show.
We are, and we always have been. So
to give people some background on Ian McCall and I, Ian and I grew up in South Orange County in Dana Point, San Clemente area, where every kid grew up, could surf, could bodyboard, could skateboard, and
could fight.
We're from one of the only places in the world where back in the 90s and early 2000s, before MMA and UFC was cool, it was cool where we lived. We were like the only city in the world, and it was pretty much one of the only places you could get real mixed martial arts training with boxing and wrestling and kickboxing and submissions and
jiu-jitsu.
And other kids, you know, were learning karate and kung fu. And at 17, 18 years old, we were training with the best professional fighters in the world. And it was funny because we would go places and other people would literally like, oh, I've heard of you guys. Or I know the guys from your school. Like, please don't destroy our home or our teeth.
Yes, beat us up and take our girlfriends. Please don't do that.
So Ian also has a podcast that he's doing.
I do.
It's called
Storytime with Uncle Creepy.
Storytime with Uncle Creepy. That's getting out there. That's been going for a little while. I have a background hosting all kinds of TV shows as well as in sports, but we're here at Dash, and we're going to have a talk show. We're going to mix in a little bit of music for you guys, but we're going to have all kinds of interesting and fun and relevant guests.
Beautiful guests.
We're going to have really cool guests who are just the coolest.
My favorite.
And we're going to ask them weird stuff. We're going to ask them normal stuff and some weird stuff.
Most of the weird stuff will be coming out of my mouth, I'm guessing.
Most of the weird stuff will be going in your mouth.
This is true. So, I mean, not the first time.
Now, we also have a couple insane guests coming in today. We do? None other than Jessie Jane, or now I know she's going by Jessie, so we'll have her on in a few minutes, and we're going to figure out if she's going by Jessie Jane or just Jessie, because I heard there was a problem with the full name. Also, we're going to have Cole Miller, UFC fighter. He was on The Ultimate Fighter. He'll be fighting here at the Forum, UFC 198 or 199.
199.
We're almost
Saturday.
there.
And that card is incredible. You've got Luke Rockhold defending his title against Michael Bisping. You have Uriah Faber trying to beat up Dominic Cruz, which ain't gonna happen. I mean,
for sure.
There's a good night of fights. I mean, granted, BJ's off the card, which is
terrible.
Which is terrible. It's ridiculous, but that's life. And I'm just excited to have fights here at home where we live.
Yeah, and one thing I want to say is, even though both Ian and I have a history as professional fighters, I mean, we've done all kinds of other sports, and this is not an MMA show.
No.
We are by default going to end up talking about fighting now and then, but we're not those jock, meathead, testosterone goofballs who just want to talk about fighting all day. Because to be honest, even though I end up talking about it, it's not really what I want to talk about. I want to talk about politics and religion and history, and I want to teach you something, Ian.
And slinging dick. That's what I want to talk about.
I'm sure you do. Also today, we're going to have Erik Aude. And Erik Aude, he was on a TV show. You guys might have heard of it. It's called Locked Up Abroad.
Yes.
And he was locked up in Pakistan. Now, I'm going to tell you what, Ian. Of all the places I would want to go to jail, Pakistan is guaranteed towards the bottom of that list.
Yeah, and when you find out for why he went to jail and the timing, he was in jail out there, you're going to realize why this was horrible. And he was the only person ever on Locked Up Abroad to play themselves.
Oh, he played himself?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this story.
But besides all that stuff, after the stories, I mean, he's a stunt man. He does a lot of, he's a good guy. So.
Yeah, he's done some acting. He's a stunt man. And that's the thing nowadays. It seems like every stunt man's done some acting and vice versa, right?
Yes. They have to. It's part of the game, I think. And
he's also a professional poker player, so I want to see if he'll join in with me and bash Dan Blazarian.
Yeah, I'm in. I'm actually doing a poker tournament with him later this month.
Well, I have plenty to say about him. So those are all our guests today. I think we're just gonna have 3 guests, and that's some 3 pretty big guests to get things started here at Dash Radio.
Yes, it's a good lineup.
I mean, Jessie alone has several million followers. She's a pretty big deal. Yeah. I mean, she must get at least $150 for that flat tummy tea post. It's so funny because my girlfriend is she works in social media. She works with some of the biggest YouTubers in the world, obviously, and she deals with some of these girls on YouTube who are making, $100,000, $200,000 a month off of YouTube, these girls.
Jesus.
And it's so funny because she has these Instagram models who hit her up and want to, hey, can you represent me? And she's like,
I've got 1 million followers.
You make a couple $100 a post. Like, my clients are making a couple $100K a month. Like, what am I going to make off of you? $15 a month? I'm making $20,000 a month off this client.
Yeah, it just doesn't appeal to me. Sorry.
No, it's literally. I literally laugh all day long. And we'll talk about it more later. But I literally laugh all day long at social media and how these girls think they're superstars because they have a certain amount of followers and because Flat Tummy Tea or whoever is paying them a couple $100 per post. And it's funny because I know how much they're getting. So I always ask them, you really need that $150 today, didn't you? I mean, I would have loaned it to you. You didn't post that shit.
You have to do that. God, what else is there's all that, there's a lot of companies out there that thrive off. And I get business model wise, it's genius. You have, good looking women who post random shit on their Instagrams because they can, and you don't have to pay them anything for it.
Well, there's another way to look at it. We can make fun of them all day and say it's not that much money, but here's the flip side of the coin, and I want to try to be fair. I mean, they're just posting something online for money. It's borderline free money. Yeah. Now, it's not free because they have a following and there's a value there, but it's like, I just got to post this stupid thing and make some money. Of course I'm going to do it. Who cares how much it is if it's only $150? Yeah.
Sounds like most of my ex-girlfriends.
Congratulations.
Winning.
Also today we're going to talk about, I have a little bit of current events I want to talk about. I want to talk about some different things.
Let's talk about Donald Trump.
We'll cover a little bit of Donald Trump along with Hillary and Bernie and their little predicament. And Hillary has a problem with Bernie because he could win California. And we'll talk about that later, and that will cause her a problem. Also, we're going to have a weekly segment called The Best Worst Advice Ever.
Yes.
Because we're going to give you some great, horrible advice. So we have people that are emailing in and calling in with relationships and sex questions, and who better to ask than us?
Yes, exactly. A couple of bona fide cocksmen.
We are cocksmiths.
Yes, and butt snorkeler. I'm a master diver. I need to get you the master diver certificate because you are a cocksman of cocksmen.
There is actually an Instagram called the Butt Snorkeler.
I know.
Oh, that's where you got that.
My friends own it.
Oh, I seen it.
Yes,
I followed it.
Yeah, and exactly. They have all the gear. I'll have them send you some shirts.
I love it.
You want some shirts? Okay, so I'll have them send you guys shirts. And they gave me a mug. There's beer koozies. They have fucking towels. I mean, so much good stuff, and they're two guys I literally grew up with. They make a living off this thing.
They're making a living off of it.
I mean,
Like they don't have other jobs.
No, they have other jobs, but it's enough. You know, it's for what it is. They're doing pretty freaking well.
Well, I mean, that's a real thing these days. People literally, there are people out there who make a living off of Instagram, and there's people out there who created brands on social media. They didn't really like do anything. They created brands just using other people's images and ideas, and then once it had a big enough following, they said, "We have shirts for sale."
Exactly, and look at what my two friends have done. But
snorkeler, it's fucking amazing.
And they have an actual certification process, people. I'm a master diver.
Oh my
it took
God.
a while.
That is perfect. It really is. So we're going to go over some current events. We have a little bit of Trump and Hillary and Bernie. We're going to talk about the best, worst advice ever. And we're going to finish up today with something that we here at American Animals like to call celebrity call out.
Yes.
Because there's not enough people who call out celebrities on their shit. But Ian and I don't care, and we're not afraid, and we will say whatever we want. Yes, I mean, I obviously don't care. I'm wearing ripped jeans that I borrowed today because I didn't have any pants. I look like Eli. We're sitting here with Cole Magrino Miller. Welcome, Cole.
Magrino.
Thank you for having me, guys.
No problem. Anytime.
Magrino is, put it in front of your mouth, smart guy.
Hello.
Now, Magrino is, does that mean skinny?
Yep, skinny in Portuguese.
Portuguese.
Are you proud of me?
Yeah, very good.
You know? I thought it was magro.
Magro, yeah. That's
same thing
too. Same thing.
Oh, so you obviously you've been hanging out with too many fighters, and obviously you've been hanging out with fighters when fighting was like before it was cool.
Yes.
Because back in the day, if you fought, you had no choice. You were hanging out with Brazilians.
Oh, yeah.
Nowadays, as a fighter in America, you don't have to hang out with fighters. So let's introduce Cole a little bit. Cole Miller is a UFC fighter fighting this coming weekend here on UFC 199. We'll talk about at the forum, at the remodeled forum. It's actually nice. Have you seen it, Cole?
No,
it's
I don't
dope.
know anything about it.
So the forum is where the Lakers played back in the Showtime days of Magic and Kareem, back when it was magical, and they were
the 80s.
I think they three-peated back then, and they were unbeatable, and it was just amazing moments in sports history, like literally all of sports history. Some of the best moments happened at the forum. Also, some of the biggest rock concerts in the history of music went down at the forum. It was the coolest place to see a show in the 80s. And in the 90s, it became obviously old and dilapidated. And then the Lakers left and the Kings left.
The neighborhood surrounding it just went down and down.
It's basically Compton. It's hood. Not anymore. It was hood as can be. Like back in the day, like maybe when we were like in high school or a little bit after high school, if one of us was driving down the road there, and I'm not exaggerating, the police would pull you over. I go, what the fuck are you doing here?
Are you trying to buy drugs?
Are you? No, you would, like, are you trying to get robbed or raped or killed? Like, what? You can't fucking be here. It used to be like that. It was legit that bad.
Yikes.
And then back in the...
And they've got us going there to fight?
Well, no. I said it used to be like that. And then what was the big police chief in the 90s that all the raps, all Ice Cube rap songs are about?
Carrera?
No, Gates.
Gates?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Well, he cleaned up the entire city, like, quite a bit. Yeah. Cleaned up the city and changed the city. So nowadays, because I was in Compton, well, we were there. That's Glory.
Yeah.
And I was there like 2 years ago, and I remember driving around, and I was like, oh, I need to get an ATM to pay for parking and stuff. And I looked around, and I was like, fuck, I'm in Compton. And I looked around, and go, it looks safe as could be. Like, it looks like, I mean, I would bring my little kid here and walk around and play around like it's normal. Like, it's not scary at all. And I remember like, wow, like they really cleaned up the gangs and stuff in LA and South Central and Compton and Watts 100%. So they have remodeled the building and it's dope again. Ian was just there, right?
Yeah. I was there not too long ago, and I think they put $100 million into it or something crazy. Well, what they're doing is now that the Rams are here in LA, they are getting rid of Hollywood Park. They're putting in a big arena. And they're going to have, or a stadium, I should say. And apparently it's supposed to be the nicest stadium ever built. I mean,
well, it's going to be brand new. It's going to be in L.A. So
brand new in L.A. I'm guessing, well, from what I hear, I just hear this from other people that know about sports. I don't really watch sports. But Jerry Jones from the Cowboys has something to do with it. Yeah. And some other just obviously very, very rich people are putting a lot of money into this fucking place. And it's supposed to be the nicest stadium on earth. So,
man, if you guys want to talk about sports, we need to get my brother Mike in here.
Let's
he knows
finish
about that stuff. I don't know what we're talking about.
I mean, we're so bad at this. We get off track. Let's get back. Cole Miller fighting this weekend. Now, Cole has an overall record of 21-9. I looked up. He might have some amateur fights or some early professional fights that didn't make it on the Fight Finder.
Yes.
His first fight was all the way back in 2005. Cole, you were on The Ultimate Fighter season 4, I want to say?
5.
5.
Yep.
Who else was on that season with you?
Nate Diaz, he won that show.
And Robert Emerson, Manny Gambarian.
Manny Gambarian, Joe Lozon, Gray Maynard.
That was a good, man, what a season.
Studs.
What a season.
Yeah.
So, and who were the coaches?
BJ Penn and Jens Pulver.
So that leads me to the next question. Cole, what was it like the day when you got a phone call saying, do you want to fight BJ Penn? Or did you hit them up?
No, I wasn't even paying attention to what was going on in that world. I woke up at like noon or noon 30 to a phone call from my manager. He said, "Hey,"
and you weren't in camp.
No, I was training, but not in camp. No, I was like doing some triathlons here and there. And
you do triathlons now? Oh, here we go. I'm always in shape.
Well, like Diaz brothers got me into it in 2007, so I've been doing them on and off for almost a decade now.
Wow.
But I was doing mostly that just to be in shape and be ready for this exact type of situation. But it was like noon or noon 30 when he called me and he said, "Hey, you want to fight BJ Penn?" And I said, "Yeah."
What is that phone call like?
I said, "Yeah, if I can go back to sleep."
I'll fight anyone you want if you leave me alone.
Yeah. It's like you already know you can just sign my name on the damn battle agreement. Like,
yeah, exactly.
So,
here's power of attorney. Just sign away.
So we know Cole pretty well. Our people listening at home and our fans and Cole's fans might not really know exactly how he is, but I know that Cole's not the kind of guy to like seek out a fight and talk a bunch of shit. Cole's a super respectful guy. He comes from the old school. Like, I mean, when was your first fight? 2003, 4?
2002.
That was mine. 03.
Mine was 2001, 2002. So we have respect for BJ. BJ's the guy.
Yeah, he's a legend.
So, but I'm from a different kind of background. So like, I would have a hard time fighting someone, even if they're not my good friend, someone I just like. I just think, oh, he's such a cool guy. Like, I would be like, fuck, I can't, I could, because when I fight, I want to fucking hurt people. There are a lot of fighters nowadays. We talked about it before, Ian, and Cole. I wanted to get your opinion on this. There's a lot of fighters nowadays who are athletes.
No doubt.
And they just happen to be good at boxing and wrestling, and their cardio's good, and they're semi-tough. But we're fighters. Like, I don't want to be a dick. I don't want to maim someone or cripple them, but I like hurting people. Like, I like to know that, hey, I put you down.
That's the goal.
It's part of the sport.
You are not in there for any other reason.
I want you to be okay later.
Before he hurts you.
Yeah, I want you to be okay later on, but I want to put you down, or I want you to tap.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I feel a lot of guys these days, they're not like that.
It's about points. It's about
yeah, go ahead.
It doesn't work. I mean, it works for them, but coming from the era that we came from, we're different. You want to fuck people up. That's part of the game.
It was like always about the finish, but now these guys they
just fighting not to lose. Everybody
they get up one round and they're like, okay, I'm up the round now. This guy has to come out harder to win the next round, so I can do just enough to coast to get by and win that second round. Yeah. And now I'm up 2 rounds. Now I can just coast, and I can even give up this round.
Yeah,
man, what is that?
Giving up a round. This isn't boxing. There's not 600 rounds, and it's not Muay Thai where we're not fighting every weekend.
That's like your athlete versus your martial artist or your fighter.
Yeah. And I don't want to interrupt or change the subject, but one thing we want to say is thanks to Cole, because we're recording this. It is 10:30 at night, the week of the fight. Very, very nice of Cole to come here. We really appreciate it. We definitely owe him after this one. Before I forget it, Cole, is there anything you want to talk about or plug on the show, a website you want people to see, or a gym you want people to come to?
Nope.
Well, that was easy enough.
Wow. Now, Cole, you seem rather, well, I mean, it's history now, but it doesn't seem like you were that impressed, or you didn't feel like it was that big of a deal fighting BJ, which to me, I would be like, oh my God, like this is a huge thing. Now, I know you have a lot of experience, a lot of fights, a lot of UFC fights. You've won Fight of the Night. You had some big wins and stuff, but I mean, you don't seem very affected.
Yeah. I mean, once I had already, accepted the fight with BJ, the fight's happening. What are you going to do? You're going to sweat this thing? You're going to build it up? You got 3 weeks to get ready. And whatnot, but I'm
talking about mentally, because most people don't understand that our sport is so mental.
Yeah, I mean, I went through my mental journey for about 24 hours, and the magnitude of what the fight could be. But then, did that for 24, 40 hours, and then after that, I was like, okay, now it's time to just be thinking about what you're going to be doing to him.
So, can I ask you? I mean, I don't want to be negative or anything, but the likelihood of you fighting BJ in the future now that this fight's been canceled is pretty slim, right?
That I don't know.
So
I felt like there was more interest in that fight than his original opponent, Dennis Seaver.
Well, very much so.
Yeah, once they announced me and BJ, I feel like everybody was like, all right, now that's a fight.
Now, I'm very close with BJ. He's like family to me, and you and I get along really, really well. But I definitely think that Dennis Seaver was a much easier fight for BJ.
Of course.
No doubt.
Because, I mean, I couldn't see Dennis Seaver lasting very long if he got taken down.
I mean,
what would he do?
I mean,
if BJ got on top of Dennis Seaver, he would be. I mean, I'm not knocking the guy, and I don't want to be negative about a fighter.
Seaver is a shot out juice head. Let's just call it for what it is. He's a shot out juice head. He's old. He's banged up. He's good at like 3 moves. Period. That's it. And BJ was going to pick him apart on the feet because he's a better boxer. He's going to take this dude down, and then he's a world champion in jiu-jitsu. He's going to tap this guy out.
Tie him up quick.
And here's the thing. I also want to know this, because obviously people know about fighters, but we think about our fight 24/7 in camp. It's all you're on your mind is my fight, am I in shape, getting ready for next training session, eating properly, losing weight. So did you wonder, what were your thoughts about BJ's at Jackson's, and he's been there at this point. He's been there since December. He's been there for months. So were you like, man, I'm going to fight the best BJ ever, or were you thinking,
I was hoping for that. I wanted to fight a BJ that would kick the ass of the BJ that was beating Florian and Diego Sanchez. I wanted to fight a BJ that
beat Florian and Diego Sanchez was a good BJ.
Now that is the answer that comes from a man.
But that's, I was just going to say, that's what a man answers.
That's a fighter right there. That's not
a real
an athlete.
Fighter.
That's not, I'll fight whoever they want me to fight. No, you want to fight the best, baddest, scariest 155er to ever walk the face of the earth. And you want to fight the
145er.
Or 145er. And you want to fight the best.
A few more pounds you and you can fight.
Correct. So I'm in this, I'm a martial artist. I'm here to challenge myself. I'm not here to get famous. I mean, when I got into this, the same thing that you guys did.
People thought we were
want to
weird.
get in there. We want to fight. I'm here to do this for me. I'm here to find out more about myself. I want to grow as a person. I want to grow as a martial artist.
I don't want to grow. I want to beat people up.
That's cool too. I like doing that too. So you get it, but it's all about you.
Am I a dick when I say that?
No.
I never thought to myself,
I don't think so.
I want to grow as a person. I was like, no, I want to beat up badass dudes and say I beat up that badass dude.
I want to do it all. I want to do it all.
So, man, again, Ian nailed it right on the head right there with, that's how a man answers that question. I want to fight the best one. So you got past that. Then we had the fight canceled, and somebody fills you in on it. We're not going to go into that, but somebody didn't want you to hear it on the news, so they let you know before it was on the news. And what was your first thought when you realized that it really wasn't happening? Did you care? Was it a letdown?
I said, typical. I mean, it's been, when you're a fighter, it's just like a rough road sometimes. Sometimes it seems like you're just a little down on your luck, and it's just been this stretch of BS for me. I had it seemed like it really all started with that the Manny Gamburian loss that I had.
Okay.
I felt like I TKO'd him, and then he had three minutes to recover between rounds. And then even after that, I felt...
And was that in Massachusetts or somewhere northeast?
Yeah, in Boston, yeah. And then even after that, after the 3 rounds, I was like, all right, cool. I won that. I mean, I didn't think there was a doubt.
That was total bullshit.
And that's where it all started. And then I won a couple more after that, and then I was getting ready to train for Connor, and then my thumb completely almost ripped off my hand and tore the ligament on that, and then ended up fighting Max Holloway like 10 months later. Ended up getting headbutted twice in that fight, split this all open, and then lost a decision there. And I only trained for like a week and a half for that fight. I had some stuff going on. I had a baby, and I had some other stuff that was preventing me from training. And then here's this thing with BJ. I'm like, yes, and then no.
Shit on again. This sport is so fickle.
Yeah, and we've talked about it before, Ian, is that most people don't understand, like, in their mind, the fans at home, the average fan at home who doesn't have any experience as an athlete or, as a fighter especially, a lot of them think this fighter is at his best condition. He's in his peak, and he's fighting another guy who's at his peak. And if that guy doesn't look that good today, it's because he sucks. No, dude. He might have personal problems. He might have had a kid. He might have a girlfriend who's a maniac.
Yeah, death in the family. I mean, horrendous injury.
Yeah,
I mean, there's
money problems. People don't understand. Also, we're all cutting a lot of weight, and when you're cutting 20, 30 pounds, a lot of people it's very common to get a cold or get sick because your body's just not doing well, and then it's weak, so you get sick. Mm-hmm. So a lot of guys are fighting sick. I fought sick before.
I ended up in the hospital in Brazil.
Yeah, that's right. And so people don't understand. It's like they just think
that sounds scary.
I had a blood infection before I went down there. And I went down anyways, and then I cut weight, and I literally got there and I slept maybe an hour a night, maybe. So I'm fucking delirious, sweating every night, working out, trying to get it done, still eating right. I finish the weight cut, make the weight. As I'm walking to check my weight for the final one, I collapsed and I threw up like bile. And then Bert ran over and grabbed me and was an Isabella, Isabella from Brazil, the lady that runs all the South American shows. They kind of, bring me in the scale room, lay me down. Doctor comes in, checks me out. I check my weight. I'm on weight. Perfect. I go weigh in.
Of course you're on weight. You were sick and dehydrated and falling apart.
So, and then literally.
You're probably underweight.
I made weight, talked a bunch of shit, walked backstage, collapsed, and then ended up in the hospital.
Yeah,
but your immune system takes a dump.
I had a really tough weight cut. I've had 2 tough weight cuts in my life, but whenever I was fighting Andy Ogle in Manchester, things just got real rough. I ended up getting the flu about 10 or 12 days in America before I left for Manchester. And I got over there, and, you're supposed to be losing water and losing weight.
Just retain.
And,
did you float on the plane?
The flu is telling you need to be drinking liquids and gain, hydrating, not losing your water. And so I was 173, cutting to 145, and had the flu. And I just kept cutting and kept cutting and kept cutting. And I was sitting there, I was honest with myself, I'm not going to make this. And I had one of my coaches picked me up like a baby in his arms, and he put me in the tub. And I finished cutting the weight. I went 4 or 5 nights with literally no sleep. It felt like Christmas tree lights were going on and off on my body. Like my left leg and my right arm would fire, and my right leg and my left arm would freeze. And it was blinking across my body like that. So your nervous system is all kinds of messed up. And
plus you flew overseas, which makes a big difference. And a lot of people, you hear about people floating who gain weight. They don't eat or drink anything, and they gain weight on the plane.
Yeah,
right.
I hear about it all the time. I didn't eat or drink one thing, not a drop, and I gained a pound. What?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I hear about that all the time.
The real bad stuff happened on weigh-in morning. I ended up, I was like, okay, probably on weight. If we go to leave the hotel room, and I'm already kind of blacking out in and out a little bit, and then I'm holding my coach's shoulder, and he's kind of like leading me. And I got to the doorway, and my eyes were open, but my vision went black. I couldn't see, but my eyes were open. But I knew that I was conscious.
That's the worst feeling.
I was just trying to get my equilibrium, and my heart started, instantly shut up. And I said, okay, you're going into cardiac arrest, and you're about to have a heart attack and die. And I was thinking that. And I said, try to stay calm. And then I had to sit down, and eventually, my sight came back. I got back up. It probably took me 20 minutes to just make it down to the downstairs lobby.
So bad.
Made the weight. All right.
And this all happened after you were already on weight.
This happened this was weight cutting morning. And then
you still had to cut.
And then I still had to get on the scale. I got on the scale, made the weight, and had to fight the next day like that.
And then people go, oh, if he's not just killing everyone out there, he sucks. It's like, bro, you have no idea what the fuck I went through to get here.
They're making some good changes with what's going on right now, though.
I like it.
I like the California thing. You can weigh in at 10 in the morning now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't like all the changes, though.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about this, like some of the, with BJ, the USADA stuff.
We know BJ is not taking it.
Did you know? Oh, of course.
He did a
out of all
IV.
people.
Yeah.
Did you know that you couldn't ever get an IV now? Theoretically, you can never get an IV without being told, without permission.
For me, that was my job to know that.
I thought that was, I haven't fought in the last couple of years, but I'm pretty up to date on stuff. Mm-hmm. And I thought you just couldn't get one after weighing in. Honest to God.
About a week after they made that announcement, they made the announcement that it was going to be a full-time thing. You're
never supposed to get an IV.
Unless you were admitted into a hospital, not under doctor's care. You were admitted into a hospital, or if you're part of a medical study. But I don't think that they're allowing like that as a loophole, like for you to sign up and just. I don't think that they're letting that happen. Well, it has to be approved.
Studying
by
saving solution.
Yeah, it can't be like a doctor trying to study how much weight fighters can gain, by taking IVs.
The other thing is, do you think it's necessary to say you can never get an IV?
If you're admitted into a hospital, you can get an IV.
But like, I know tons of people who get IVs all the time, who just parties you are to get an IV, or when they feel sick, they get an IV. I know a lot of people do that. As a matter of fact, I don't know.
But if you're an Olympic athlete or now a UFC athlete,
there's businesses all over LA and Vegas where
those bio stations and stuff like that.
where like at Coachella or in Vegas, like, oh, you party too hard? We'll come to your hotel room and give you an IV for $80 and you'll feel like $1 million. It's a service. It's like it's relatively common. Now, some people might think, oh, that's weird. I've never done that. But I mean, what's weird to you might be normal to someone else. And I know people do it all the time. So
a lot of the people that we know, especially like, we're at Coachella, we saw 1 million people doing them. And then obviously
BJ wasn't at Coachella, but you know what I'm saying is that people.
I think
it's
that
not
if you
uncommon
add more
now.
weight classes, then this won't be a big deal. Because like if you're gonna ban the IV, I say that's fine, but you have to supply that with another option. Yeah. And so like that means that the weight classes have to be maybe more added or some switched and adjusted.
They need to add maybe 2 or 3 more, and they if they're gonna they're gonna be so strict with all this, then. The whole 8% of your body weight, you can't be over that when you get to the fight on fight week. So there's a lot of
I mean, it's cool, but I have the flip side. Like, I'm an old school guy. It's like, make the weight pussy. Like, you don't need all these other weight classes. I don't care what it takes. Get on weight. I don't want to hear any excuses.
People are always going to cheat the system too.
And if somebody wants to cut 30 pounds, so this thing saying that you can't cut more than 8%. Yeah. Bro, if that guy wants to cut 40 pounds and kill himself to get there and feel like shit the next day, that's on him. If he wants to try it, let him try it. Why? That's part of the sport. To me, it's part of the game.
Well, I mean,
now I don't want to risk people's health.
I know that USADA, for them, it is coming from a pure spot because it's proven that you've been able to mass steroids with IV.
I understand that part.
From USADA's perspective, that's their job is to enforce.
But then again, at the same time, I mean, I don't want to go off on the subject too long, but we're having a good time. Yeah. It's all a cat and mouse game because if you're read up on steroids and hormones and stuff, it's all a cat and mouse game. If you have enough money, if I have enough money, I don't care if USADA tests me every day. I'll pass every test and I'll take steroids. If you have enough money, you can get designer steroids because those tests only test for specific chemicals. But every year, the laboratories and the scientists make new steroids. And that steroid, it takes a year or 2 or 3 years before somebody finds out about it and adds that to the list of something to check for. And when that happens, those laboratories go make new steroids that they don't check for. And it's playing catch up. So the guys with the most money, like the guys who are making millions in NFL and Major League Baseball, unless they're idiots, bro, those guys can take there's all kinds of designer steroids that nobody knows what they are. And look at growth hormone or IGF. You can take growth hormone every day. If you're not tested within 12 hours, you're going to pass. Your body metabolizes it. I mean, here's the example. If I'm halfway smart, USADA comes to everyone's house at 6:30 in the morning, right?
I mean, they showed up at our gym at noon.
So I mean, so in the afternoons, take it at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. By 6 o'clock the next morning, it's out of your system. You'll never get caught. I'm just saying, like, if you want to be smart, because it's going to be metabolized.
Playing the devil's advocate.
Yes. I know I am. I mean, but I'm taking both sides.
There's also new testosterone, because testosterone is made from wild yams. Most people don't know that, but it's made from wild yams. And now they have bioidentical testosterone made from animal protein.
Yeah, and they can't test for that.
And they can't test for it. And even what's his name? Jeff Nowitzki was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he's like, and Joe brought it up, of course, because that's Joe's job. And he's like,
because Joe's trying it all out.
He's like, we're working on it. That was his say. Oh, we're working on it. Oh, so you can't catch these motherfuckers? Because you look at some people in the sport, and they're still taking something. You look at some people's bodies, and
you can see it.
And you can see it.
You can see it.
They're real puffy. They're red. You can see it. I always see their elbows. Their elbows look different. They're puffy.
If you roll with somebody that is on a lot of testosterone, they fucking stink.
Yeah, you can smell it coming out of their pores.
And it smells. It seems like a mix between like fat burning and this dense, like kind of thick sweat that it's people that are juiced to the gills.
Well, I mean, I don't hang out with people who are that juiced up.
You fucking
that sounds disgusting.
You do enough jiu-jitsu and you hang out with all the Brazilians and all the bomba.
Here's another question we have for you, Cole. Do you think in your mind, now this is not, you don't have to name anybody, I'm not saying, I'm just your personal feelings. Do you feel like another fighter is a cheater if he takes steroids completely away from a fight? So I'll give you an example. I've broken my neck. I've had 5 knee surgeries, 5 wrist surgeries. And each one of those times, my doctors gave me steroids during my recovery process. Now, I didn't fight. It was months or sometimes a year apart from a fight. Now, in your mind, do you think I'm a cheater if I fought a year after taking some testosterone to recover from an injury?
If your doctor prescribed that for your health, then
yes. Because a lot of people would be like, if you ever taken steroids in your life, you're a cheater. And I go, well, wait a minute, bro. I broke my neck. Yeah. My left pec and my left tricep was paralyzed for 4 months, and I had horrible atrophy. And you could see my entire left side of my chest plate. You could see all my top ribs, and I had no tricep. It went up here, and
your arm looked like this one then, my arm.
And because I broke my C6, and those nerves control your pec and your tricep. And the doctors were like, well, it may or may not get better. You're going to do some rehab, and if it's not working, we're going to give you some IGF and some testosterone. And I had taken it from other injuries before. And I was like, great. No problem. Now, in my mind, I'm not fighting anytime soon. I can barely move my arm. I'm not going to be juiced up when I fought.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously needed that to heal. The thing with steroids that I bring up and a lot of people don't think about is the fact that you're taking them. It alters your body. It changes you to another person. You're a different person than you were before. When an athlete enters a draft, for instance, he is the number one pick. What makes him special? Well, he is special. He has something that other people don't. He might be fast. He might be real strong. He could be explosive. He might have phenomenal hand-eye coordination. But whatever this is, that he was born or acquired through, a lot of practice, this skill that no one else has. Therefore, he is worth more money.
Yep.
In that sport.
Supply and demand.
Yep. Okay, so he's a special individual and he's worth more money. So now when these people take steroids or whatever they're going to take, now they're acquiring these skills that they don't have.
It's not skills.
Well, I mean, like a skill, being fast is a skill. You practice.
Okay, but do you think all the steroids in the world can help you hit a baseball?
No. I mean,
you might hit it farther.
Yeah, okay. And power is a thing.
Yeah, I like to play both sides.
Too. It's both.
You need some nootropics.
You're becoming a different person than you were, and now you are entering that realm where you're taking money from someone else.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a multifaceted discussion, and we could talk about this for hours and hours and hours, but Cole Miller, we're so happy to have you here on American Animals. Ian McCall, Erik Aude, hanging out with Cole Miller. Cole Miller's going to fight this weekend. And real quick, your opponent, Alex Cacarequez, is that how you say his name?
Caceres.
They call him Bruce Leroy, right?
Yeah.
He's kind of exciting, but I don't see him having that much for you.
He's tough.
No knock to Alex. I'm just being real.
He's an awkward fighter. I think that...
And people don't understand. Sometimes an awkward guy was worse than a guy who's good.
Yeah, and he's
I'd rather fight a dude who's really good than a guy who's really awkward.
He's tough. He's pretty slick, but I just don't see him winning this fight.
I hope not.
I think Cole is better than him everywhere. There's nowhere that guy's better than you. Yeah. So, guess what?
But I think that's why a lot of people tune into the sport is because
you never know.
I think I'm going to win, of course, but the best guy doesn't always win, and it's not about who's better. It's who's better on that day, in that moment. Better than most people, and that's the crazy thing. And I'm getting ready for BJ. All of a sudden, he's a right-handed orthodox boxer, jiu-jitsu, who I'm trying to take down defense for. And I'm fighting a southpaw kung fu stylist who,
perfect. Yeah. I mean, did you tell the UFC, oh, thanks, you guys couldn't have matched me up with someone better? Yeah. Perfect. All right. You have another guy who is an animal on a different type of field, not in a cage or a ring. We have Terrell Owens. Thank you so much, Terrell, for coming to the show.
That's all good.
Does that happen all day? I'm sorry.
They mess it up all the time.
I blew it already.
See, I learned that 10 years ago.
See,
I never hung out with him before.
Yeah,
we had some random fucking quality times, I guess, all in Vegas.
So that was when the Palms were really like the real deal.
So make sure you guys check out Terrell.
Yeah.
On his Instagram, it's just his name, Terrell Owens. Also check out his Snapchat, SnapMe81. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking through his Instagram right now. And Terrell, tell us what's going on in your world these days. I know things have been there's been a lot of changes going on.
Yeah, just right now my main focus for the last year and a half, I've been doing working on my own clothing line. I think it's something that probably should have been done, but timing has its place. And so right now that's what we're looking to do. We're going to launch in July. We're already set up for the 2 trade shows in New York City, which is Move, and in Vegas in August. So the one Magic.
Men's Apparel Guild. I've been going to that show since the 90s.
Yeah, so that's going to be...
Can you move the mic stand for him while we're talking? Because I want to look him in the eyes so he doesn't think I'm ignoring him. I have that problem.
Yeah, so I
just feel like I'm like hiding, and so is he.
Maybe I need to slide over a little bit. Yeah, but it's going to be the big reveals. The name of my clothing line is called Prototype 81, and I got that. I came up with that name based on it really kind of the potential that I had coming out of college. A lot of the scouts looked at me, looked at my size, all the things that I possess in terms of my height, speed, my length, hands.
Physical abilities.
Right, things of that nature. So I started.
How big were you in school? Sorry to interrupt you. How big were you like coming out of high school? Were you already?
I was really skinny, scrawny. I'm going to show you a picture here in a minute. You're going to laugh. My son is kind of going through that little awkward stage where he's short, not really tall, but I can tell, he's going to be a late bloomer like I was. So when I left high school, I was probably like 6'1", maybe 180, 85 pounds. So that's not big at all. So I was real skinny and scrawny. But once I got to college, obviously I hit the weights, toward the end of my high school years, like in my senior year, I hit the weights. And then once I got to college and I started to build on that. And so I played football and basketball for a lot of people that don't know that. I walked on the basketball team after my freshman year. So I played 4 years of football and 3 years of basketball.
Now, when you were in school, were you trying to put on weight, like lifting weights, remember back in the day, they used to have the calorie shakes. You try to have one shake at 2,500 calories. Now, when I was, so I played high school football. Most people don't know this because I've been an action sports athlete all my life, but I was an All-American strong safety. Which most of my friends don't know. And when I was in high school, I was trying to put on weight, like I couldn't put on weight fast enough. I was drinking shakes.
Androstenedione.
And I was eating everything I could and drinking those. And remember, nowadays, people have it good nowadays. You got Progenics and Muscle Milk. That stuff tastes good.
I didn't have any of that when I was in high school.
Back in the day, that stuff tasted terrible.
Oh, shakes, I don't even recall drinking shakes or hearing about shakes. And I graduated in high school in '92, so I don't recall any of that stuff.
Where'd you go to high school?
I went to Benjamin Russell High School in Alexander City, Alabama. Okay. So if you say you were an All-American safety, you were better than me when I was in high school.
Well, see, I cheated though. I was a 200-pound strong safety in high school, so I should have been a linebacker by all accounts. I'm a little bit too smart for my own good. So in school, my coach was like, "You're gonna play linebacker," and I was like, "Fuck no, I'm not." I go, "There's offensive linemen." And see, I played here in Southern California. I played Division I, which is the biggest league. We played schools like Mater Dei every year. So we played the big. You ever heard of Mater Dei?
Yeah.
So we played like teams that were like legit. Like for high school, it was as good as it got.
Those kids
there was 200
out here on the left coast.
It's different than the South. I know. I know that.
It's like powder puff out here.
It's all relative. but I mean, I'll tell you right now, Nikki Sualua was not a powder puff.
I mean, you have a few sprinkles, of
big old Tongans somewhere.
Yeah, there were some big Samoans and Tongans in Mater Dei. So.
But I'm just saying, in terms of really trying to assess, the gridiron. Like the South is really known for football, I guess out here.
Texas and the South is definitely it's a different thing. I'm just
being a different breed
relative to my upbringing.
I got you. I'm not trying to knock you. I'm gonna let you live your stuff right now.
I'm not trying to compare myself. So what I'm saying is I should have been a linebacker. I was almost 200 pounds in high school, and my coach was like, "You're gonna be a linebacker," and I was like, "No, there's 260-pound linemen that want to hurt me." And
you look like you could play linebacker right now.
I would be an average size linebacker, or even maybe even a little small for an outside backer in high school. I go, but I could be the biggest strong safety anyone ever saw, and I could play with wide receivers. Right. And that sounds like a lot more fun than playing with fullbacks and offensive linemen. So I was a big, scary, strong safety, but I wasn't big and scary like for the whole team. Right. I was big and scary to receivers.
Well, you were smart then. You were definitely a smart cookie. You were definitely smarter, ahead of your time to be thinking that way at that age.
And strong safety. I mean, did you play cornerback or safety?
No, I didn't play really any defense. No,
I'm not knocking anybody, but man, I don't know. I mean, scoring touchdowns must be awesome, but I mean, I like hitting people and hurting people. And playing strong safety was the most fun because you had the least responsibilities, and you just got to hit everybody. I was in on every tackle, I felt like.
Well, I played my first few years in San Francisco. I played on the special team, so that was kind of like my time to be aggressive and hit people, but it wasn't on a regular occurrence, So again, sometimes you run it out on a kickoff team or kickoff return or what have you. You have your chances to kind of just lay the wood on somebody, but not.
I mean, again,
always. Scoring
touchdowns in NFL is a badass thing that very few people know what that feeling is like. But I'll tell you what, for me, I want to be the hammer and not the nail. Even if I'm the nail scoring touchdowns.
Absolutely.
See, this was my predicament. I went into high school weighing
at 4'8",
all of 100 pounds, and
you weren't even 100 pounds.
They said you should play football, and I was like, bitch. I'm 100 pounds. That kid is my age and weighs 300. So I'm going to go wrestle and learn how to fuck all you up.
So yeah, this is me.
interest.
This is me as a freshman in high school. This is me. I'm gonna show it to you. That's me as a freshman in high school.
He's a kid.
Oh, the pads are too big for you.
And that's the thing. Everybody always says, "Why do you have those big pads on?"
Your head's just
and it's
floating.
not even the pads. Those are the biggest, the smallest pads that they could fit me.
Because back then they didn't have like form-fitting wide receiver
Right,
pads.
yeah.
They were just plain old pads.
Right.
Here you go.
Right, exactly. So those are the best pads that that could accommodate my frame.
Now, did you just have like the regular old wide receiver face mask?
Yeah.
With just a little two things and a one.
There it is, right here. It's in there.
And-
I got it in my home.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's just like the old school quarterback wide
this is
receiver face
bike.
mask.
Yeah, it was either bike or right L.
You probably didn't have a neck roll.
No, for what?
You
I
just-
mean, the neck roll probably would have been bigger than me. So no, I didn't have a neck roll.
Like a pillow up on your head.
Right.
Now tell us what playing football was like you growing up in Alabama. Now, people who don't live in the South or Texas don't understand how big of a deal in each of those towns. It's a huge thing.
It's like, it's like the movie Friday Night Lights. The town shuts down almost. I mean, that's the only thing going on really on Friday nights during football season.
During the fall and the winter,
Yeah,
even if you're not in school, you don't have kids in school. The average people under 50 years old. What are you gonna do on Friday? I'm gonna go see the football team.
Absolutely. I mean, when I was in junior high, the varsity played. Their stadium was at our school, so I used to hear from the railroad tracks. The stadium was right across the railroad tracks. I lived in an apartment complex, and so on Friday nights, I knew when the game was getting ready to start. I mean, you could smell the popcorn coming across the tracks.
That's cool.
And then you could hear the band playing. You could hear the stadium. You could hear the stands. Everybody in the stands. So me as a little kid, I used to go sneak across the tracks, go sit on the tennis courts, and look from the other side of the fence. And I used to hear those big guys. I'm in the 7th, 8th grade. So you can only imagine what the junior, like 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th graders were looking like coming down the stairs. And I heard the cleats hitting the ground, the concrete. You could smell the locker room. You could just smell them. You smell the grass. I'm like, man, these guys are huge. And little did I know, at some point that I was going to be playing that sport.
And it's funny because life is so relative. When you were there, you in your mind, did you ever think like, I'm going to be there, I'm going to be a star? Or was it just like, I would just love to be a part of that one day?
Yeah, absolutely. I never envisioned, even when I left college, that I would play beyond the collegiate level. And I think that's surprising to a number of people. But for me, I played a number of sports when I grew up. I ran track. I played baseball. I played basketball. And, obviously I played football. But even with my kids, I try to tell them, and even kids that look up to me and see me as an idol, I tell them to play everything. Don't limit yourself to one sport because, my son, he likes to play basketball, but I told him don't limit yourself to just playing basketball because if you don't make it, you're just setting yourself up for a big disappointment.
Too many athletes forget to have fun.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think with today's the way sports are, and it's such a moneymaker, and especially moms and dads, they realize that their kids could be a star one day, and they really invest a lot of money in their kids to be professional, or to be honest, to be professional athletes.
And are you backing that way of things, like when people are raising their kids to be like with the whole intent, like I'm going to put all this money and time and focus my life on making sure my kid is this good of an athlete, and it doesn't matter what sport? Or do you think it's weird? I mean, you said you have a son who plays sports, or do you think? I mean, to me, that's a lot of pressure to put on a kid. It could change his upbringing, change his life.
Well, have you ever seen the documentary Trophy Kids? It's from the guys that made Bigger, Faster, Stronger, Prescription Thugs. You see these asshole parents, and I run a kids program. I run a kids martial arts program, and like you said, I mean, my parents made me play everything, and what I stress to parents is your kid needs to play everything because fighting, wrestling, it's going to get you good at just this thing. Your kid needs to be an overall athlete, needs to run, jump, swim.
Right, exactly.
Crawl,
it makes you versatile.
Exactly, and you some shit might catch your eye that you have no idea. You never would have
That's the
thought.
same as I was, and I think if you look at it, look at a number of injuries that these guys are having in these sports, and you're like, man, why is this guy? There's a number of Achilles injuries. You look at baseball. There's a number of Tommy John surgeries. Those injuries. That's because these kids are wearing themselves out, as you said, overworking them, and they're doing the same thing every day for a number of years, not working and utilizing the other muscle groups of your body.
So are you saying? So back to my question: Are you saying that you think it's a little bit much when parents are doing that to their kids?
Absolutely, and I think the only ones that are doing that are the families that really can afford to do that. I don't think that's necessarily
sending their kids across country to these camps and all this stuff.
That's not necessarily the case in low income families and families that are in the South. They can't afford to do that. Yeah. So these kids are they're playing during the summer, they're playing with each other. They're playing basketball, they're playing football, they're playing baseball, doing all these things.
To me, a lot of the best athletes in the world are the ones who weren't thinking about it, who were just out there doing it because they wanted to do it and have fun. And then, wow, I didn't even realize, but I got really good. Or I got really strong. I got really fast.
And
I was just having fun with my friends, and I wanted to beat my friends.
Right. There's only a few guys that come across like your LeBrons and your Kobes, and you think about Kevin Garnett's, the
who
guys
were raised as pedigree.
Yeah, that can go straight out of high school and play at a professional level. Now, they've implemented the law that kids need to go to college at least 1 year. Then they can declare. But you're not going to see that in football because guys' bodies just not developed enough to really go out there and play with grown men.
A 19-year-old could play Major League Baseball. Right. But a 19-year-old ain't going to play NFL.
No, sir.
Ain't happening.
Get broken up.
Ain't happening. You're not a man yet.
There's the world's biggest men trying to crush you, and that's
yeah. So it's different, and I think for me, growing up in the South, not really knowing that I would even play, like I told you, be learning the collegiate level. I just happen to be competitive. I mean, I think that's just in any kid's nature. If you're going to play a sport, you want to win, and sometimes you're either going to expand on that drive or whatever's inside of you, and you can go and take it to another level. And then there are some guys they just plateau and they peak at in the high school level or at the collegiate level. For me, how I got, when I reflect on my NFL career and when I speak to kids. And when I speak to younger kids versus kids that can understand the difference between dreams and desire, I tell them how I got to be who I am and where I am now is because of 3 Ds. And I only give them, this is the only time they're having permission to get 3 Ds.
Yeah, dream, desire, dedication.
Yeah, it's similar. Dreams and desire, like I said, depending on the age group, the younger kids may not understand desire, so I use dream with that. But it's dreams, dedication, and dream, dedication.
I got it.
And discipline.
Oh, discipline.
Yeah. So and then when I speak to older kids, it's desire, dedication, and discipline. Everybody has that one. That's that desire, and you have that dream to do something. And you can apply it. It's applicable to anything in life. But to get to that next level with anything, you got to dedicate yourself, and you got to have that discipline.
Because I agree on that, and I'll expand on it. Is because so many people that are the best in the world at what they do, they give me the feeling that if they chose to do something else, they would also be among the best in the world just because of how dedicated and how hard they work. Because nowadays, there are some of the gifted athletes and people who are, bigger, faster, stronger than others. But for the most part, competition is really close these days. And what it comes down to the little things and just working harder and, spending your time more wisely and having better people around you, especially like with fighting as well. I mean, all the guys are pretty close as far as, how tough they are, how strong they are, how fast they are, how good they are. But it comes down to the little things, the mental things. And like he said, the dedication and the discipline is what matters.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely.
To do those things day in and day out. And of course, where we come from, everyone's rich. So the kids have, so that
their parents are well off, and so
they have access to a lot of things like recovery. Like I own a business. We have cryotherapy, hyperbaric chambers,
You're not going to find
chiropractics.
You're not going to find those things in the inner city.
No. But again, like we talked about, I mean, most athletes that are some of the best in the world,
They come from nothing.
Most of those kids who we're talking about who have access to all those things, they're spoiled, and they don't have the discipline, or they don't have the toughness, the tenacity to be a top athlete, and that's really what it takes. And that leads me to the next question when it comes to like toughness and tenacity. Growing up in Alabama, where you did, I got to know, was Bo Jackson someone you really looked up to?
I never really. My grandmother I was raised by my grandmother, and so she was very, very, very strict. So I didn't get to watch entirely a lot of TV. So I didn't really know much about Bo. I heard about Bo, but
You read his book?
no, I haven't.
He has a great book.
Really. But again, being in Alabama, I was an Alabama Crimson Tide fan.
But he went to Auburn, right?
He went to
that
Auburn.
Was the big...
Auburn was closer to me. I didn't know how far. I didn't know Auburn was that close to me. I'm like 45 minutes from Auburn. Like I said, in a small town called Alexander City.
When you're a kid, you just don't know that kind of stuff. It's
Right.
like, oh.
Yeah. So again, growing up and then once getting into high school, that was like football week, like rivalry week. That was the biggest thing in our town. It's Alabama and Auburn. You either War Eagle or you Roll Tide during that week. And so for me, just to be a part of that, just to be a part of that Alabama,
a lot of good athletes. They have a lot of history in a lot of sports coming out of Alabama.
Yeah, just the South in general, and that's why you think about the championships that have been won in the last, I guess 5 to 10 years. It's been out of the SEC.
Yeah,
because they're
not the Big Ten anymore.
They're bred like, again, football. People eat, sleep, and breed football.
100%.
That's
in
life.
Alabama, in the South.
So let's change gears. So we don't want to bore people with that topic. Although I love this conversation. Honestly, I love this conversation. And just like our last guest, I could sit with him for an hour.
All right, easy.
I could pick his brain. Tell us. So we talked about a little bit about the clothing company.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us.
Prototype. Yep.
What's been happening? Tell us what the experience is like, because it's a different world, and a lot of athletes like yourself. I mean, because you really are a superstar athlete, someone a lot of people know, and a lot of athletes with your brand, and size name want to move into the business world,
right?
And because they want to sustain themselves. So many athletes now are realizing, like, hey, I can only play this football for this many years, and I don't want to, because so many football players we know are broke.
Yeah.
And Ian, I don't know if you know, but I know more than 50% of players. I read this. Get cash loans at some point in their career. Like while they're an active football player, they can't make it through an offseason and have to get a loan.
Yeah, that's just sometimes it's just poor management, and sometimes as coming out of high school, a lot of kids, especially I can only speak, from my experiences, growing up in a single family household. And we don't have mom and dads where we're fortunate enough to have a family or two adults in the household where they can teach us those things, because we didn't grow up in that type of environment.
Exactly.
We're exposed and we become knowledgeable about mutual funds, stocks, and investing and things of that nature. Those are some of the things you go to school for. And
did you feel like you learned about how to do that stuff in school?
I
don't feel like I did.
Right. We talked about it. You did enough just to get through the course or that class or that semester.
I mean,
Exactly.
we could talk for an hour about how I think that our education system does not help kids, because spending all that time learning trigonometry and chemistry, which 99% of us will never use in life.
Right.
But there's no course that teaches you how to handle your credit. And that can change your life. If you have a good credit score, you can get a house. You can
Absolutely.
save hundreds or thousands of dollars a month because you get better interest rates. That'll affect you forever.
Yeah, you learn through
Who the
trial
fuck
and
needed to learn about chemistry?
right, but you learn through trial and error. So again, there's a lot of errors before you actually figure it out. And so, I'm no different. I've been through situations where, as an athlete, you hire people to manage your financial portfolio, and you trust them, that they're doing the right things, because you don't know everything. Again, I think a lot of athletes, they fall victim to that because, again, they're just not as educated.
Football's different, though. Football is set up. I don't think other sports are, but football, you guys get paid out on Sunday after the game. They hand you a check, right? So
Come Monday, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I'll make it simple. Let's say you make $1 million a year, and there's 10 games a season. I know there's not 10, but you get $100,000 every week after your game, right? But then the whole offseason, you don't get paid. So there's dudes out there having a good time, spending their money, and then
you're not even taking
football's
account.
over, and
you have no idea.
Football's over in January, February, and come May, June, they're like, "Fuck, I got no money."
Right, a thing that you didn't mention is taxes.
Yeah,
I mean, we're in a different tax bracket than your
average person,
your average everyday 9 to 5er. So 40% of that, more than 40% of that is going to Uncle Sam.
Yeah, and then to make it even worse, now he doesn't do it anymore, but up until 5 years ago, Floyd was getting cash money loans between fights. I know this for a fact because I train, as a fighter, I train with some people. I work with some different people who do nutrition, conditioning, fight training, who work with Floyd. I've hung out with Floyd. By the way, Floyd's a great guy. I don't know how well you know him.
No, I know Floyd. Yeah,
it's so funny because he has this image, but he's the coolest dude.
Right.
If
a lot of people don't like him
if you hang out with him, you'd be like, fuck, he's cool. He's a nice guy. He's polite.
Yeah.
He it's just the image and it's working, But Floyd is he was a guy who was getting cash loans back in the day. He'd make a couple million a fight, and he would be gambling. I mean, I know there was days he would lose 6 figures on NCAA basketball. He was gambling like crazy, as we have Snapchat going on over there.
Snapchat wars.
He was gambling like crazy, and he would have to get. I mean, can you believe it? Could you imagine making $5 million for a fight, $3 million for a fight, and 6 months later, like, fuck,
you're broke.
We better schedule a fight soon because I'm out of money. And he was getting hard cash loans from Vegas people. I know this for a fact.
Wow, yeah.
Which is just funny. Like, no matter how much you make, it's never enough, right? Like we always talk about this.
And you okay? So there's
you have
so
to budget. Learn how to budget.
Exactly. and you're being educated on mutual funds and stocks, and that's one thing. But being educated on budgeting and paying taxes, like you said, and certain things that are so basic,
they don't go over it in school. I'm telling you.
Don't go over it, and it even if you have super business savvy parents, maybe you don't go over it still.
Right, yeah. You just have to prioritize and really take time to learn.
It's a growing process.
Right, yeah. And again, like I said, I've gone through it. And I think there's a lot of kids, athletes that are going to go through it, and they don't realize it until it's too late.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So the UFC they have a what's called a Fighters Summit every year. Mm-hmm. And I've been to it, Ian's been to it, and they go over stuff with you like, hey, you need to do that. You need to save money for taxes because you're an independent contractor. Like they do stuff that to some people would be like, well, that's every idiot knows that. But they have to do it for fighters because fighters are even dumber than other athletes. And they go over all that stuff and try to help you. They help you with your what else? And they social media.
Social media. They
tell you what you can and can't say. Like, don't do this because everyone's going to hate you.
Yeah,
what
you
else?
got to go through your
what else
branding, your marketing.
What else do they cover?
They go over marketing, advertising, social media, the do's and don'ts. This is this. This is rape. This is
image consulting. All that.
Now, does the NFL do that for rookies?
Yeah, they have something where they call it. It's called the Rookie Symposium. And so they either bring current or former athletes to come in and talk about really, it's very transparent. The do's and don'ts of the league, things that happen during the course of the league. If there's something that happened that was just like a lightning rod,
but
they talk about.
Do they cover like social stuff? Like, hey, look. I mean, I know it sounds stupid, but this is
women,
but this
kids,
is really, exactly. Like, hey, guess what? You make millions of dollars
violence.
now. So you go out and you hook up with some random girl at a bar.
Dude,
the next day she's going to say she's pregnant, or you beat her up, or you raped her. So they go over that stuff.
They talk about everything. Again, I remember the time that I went and spoke at the symposium. I think they held it in. It was.
They had you speak at the symposium.
Yeah, it was myself.
He's a pillar of the community. This guy.
It was myself and actually Adam Pac-Man Jones, and so Adam is a guy that's been in a lot of trouble, but he's learned and still learning. Through his hardships about really kind of like the life. What I mean, in general. So again, nobody's perfect, and again, it's all about really your upbringing. How educated you are, and you got to educate yourself sometimes as well.
Nobody is mentally prepared. There's nobody in the world. Some are prepared better than others, but nobody's completely ready to be an NFL player or a baseball player who makes millions of dollars and has all this attention and pressure. Nobody's ready for that.
Yeah, some are groomed. Like I said, it depends on your surrounding people. Right.
Very few roll in like, I got it under control.
No, but again, like I said, even as a kid, you're going to go through those growing pains. You're going to go through some situations where you have to really, swallow the pill. You have to learn from a lot of hardships.
Yeah.
And then they're going
to be pride.
Right. And there are going to be certain things that you can coax through, and there'll be an easy transition. But again, I think when you as athletes, especially going into a professional sport, that's where the veterans come into play. The guys that have been there before you, just like your parents. As kids, we didn't want to listen to our parents.
Yeah, but
thinking that we knew
not
everything.
very many people's parents played professional baseball or football or whatever.
No, but I was just using the analogy of how, we think we know everything when we're starting to grow up at 16, 17.
And the older you get, the less you know, you realize that, right?
Right. But again, parents, they've been there and they're trying to educate and groom their kids, the right way.
Exactly. And we had, actually, it's kind of funny. When we had a speaker at our summit, because they invite you to one, it was Michael Irvin.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And
he's great.
He was great and such a good speaker, but just started yelling at people and talking about smoking crack. And literally, everyone kind of sat back and was like, "Has anyone ever smoked crack before? Like, what the fuck is this guy talking about?"
Right, but somebody like that had, he's had success
and failure,
and he's fallen down to the lowest. And he's gotten back up,
and he's still there. And people look at him as who he is. He's such an amazing character.
Right. He's very humanizing.
Yes.
For somebody that that don't know Michael.
Yeah, I don't know him, but he just seems. He's one of those guys. I want to hang out with him. He seems awesome.
Trust me, he was one of those guys that if you wanted to party, he was that guy that you wanted to party with. You know what I mean? So it's no secret. Can
you imagine being the Cowboys in the 80s?
I know. Exactly. You heard about the White House, in Dallas. Michael was a partier. But at the same time, again, he went out there and he performed on that football field. He was part of a couple of championships down in Dallas. Again,
he's a top 20 wide receiver all time, right?
He's turned his life around. And made something of himself.
I didn't know he needed to. I didn't know he had any. I thought he was awesome all the time. So we're gonna wrap this up here in a minute here on American Animals. Ian McCall, Erik Aude, hanging out with Terrell Owens. Terrell, is there anything else you want to plug? I know you're talking about your clothing line. Is there a website they can check out? We talked about your Instagram.
Well, it's coming. Like I said, and we'll be in New York at one of the 2 trade shows. They're called Move and in
Magic.
Vegas at Magic in July. So yeah, that's really kind of been really my focus for the last year and a half. And again, we're getting ready to launch. And
are we ever going to see you compete again?
You never know. I know a lot of people that follow me on my Snapchat. It's Project Comeback.
Well, if your Snapchat's called Project Comeback, that's I don't think I really need to ask you that question. I'd say it's
considering, like I said, the Los Angeles Rams are here, and so how appropriate of a situation that it could be for the Rams to be here. I'm here. I'm not looking to go in and really be that star that I am.
I knew that was coming.
But again, like I said, knowing the game, being knowledgeable, obviously I know that I have something to offer. I never really officially retired anyway. So, again, you never know. You never know.
Yes. Apparently I'm not retired.
I do have a fitness equipment piece coming out. It's called Bodyboard X. It's
Bodyboard?
Bodyboard X. So it's an equipment piece.
He's a bodyboarder.
Perfect.
With 2 resistant bands on the end of it, and there's a little attachment that you can put under that board that will engage, will create a little bit more instability. So you can do a number of exercises with it. So look out for that as
Bodyboard
well.
X.
Bodyboard X.
All right, Terrell, thank you so much for coming in. I want to have this guy on again. If we can twist your arm, I want to get you on. I want to have more time with you.
Yeah, we'll do.
And we've had an awesome show so far here at
some fucking
here on
superstars.
Cahuenga at the Hollywood Dash Studios, and I can only imagine that it's going to get even more exciting. Joining us now, straight off the plane from Maui. She's a world traveler. Welcome, Jessie Jane, to the show. Thank you so much for making it over
How
here.
you doing, beautiful?
Good. How are you?
Can't complain.
Whoa, the voice changed all of a sudden. Oh shit!
I know. I was like, "Hey, how you doing?"
Just so you guys know, we know Jessie outside of being on the show with her, and when you see her like on the street and you talk to her, she's like, "Hey, what's up? Fuck you guys, you shit cock balls." And now she got
your fucking ass.
And now there's a microphone, and she's like, "Hey, how are you?
Hi, I'm
nice
bubbly
to see
all of a sudden.
you. I have pigtails."
Instead of my tomboy
my
stuff, like,
God.
"Yo, don't fuck with me."
Yeah, give me a fucking shot.
Tequila, make it a double.
Okay, so Jessie, first things first, can we call you Jessie Jane? Is that, or are you not allowed to use that? I know there was a problem.
No, so what it was is I was Jessie Jane with my old company, and then I fought my company. I sat out for 2 years, and then I like kind of re-signed just to like do a couple movies and just kind of piss off my old company because they got bought out. And so they fought me legally.
How many girls in adult are doing it to piss somebody off?
I love pissing people
I mean,
It's so much fun.
I feel like I know so many girls who go, I don't do adult anymore. And then they're like, well, I was mad at someone, so I did this.
Well, you know what it is? It was like when somebody screws me over I'm a businesswoman. And when you screwed me over when I did everything wrong.
I'm a business man.
I'm a business man. I feel like I got my own nuts. But.
Oh my. Well, wait. Okay, wait a second. Now, we got ahead of ourselves because Jessie is an adult star who started in the industry in 2002. Jessie's been in over 120 films. She's won 9 AVNs and over 19 other awards from other adult shows other than the big one, which is AVN. And you started with Digital Playground, right?
I did. I started with Digital Playground. I came in with a contract. They found me in Hawaiian Tropics. So I never
It's better than Hooters.
I worked at Hooters too.
You did? I was joking.
Do you still have your shorts?
You were like the living stereotype.
I pretty much.
The blonde girl with pigtails worked at Hooters, did Hawaiian Tropic, has big tits, and now guess what I do?
Pigtails were because this was my traveling hair to get out of my way because it was sticky and hot at the airport in Maui.
It was so hard walking around Maui and fucking
No, let's go back. No, let's focus on. Okay, so you started with Digital Playground in 2002.
I did, and I stayed with them for 10 years, and technically 12, but the last 2 years I sat out, I didn't work because they got bought out by a new company, and the new company was trying to bully me, and in my contract...
Can you say who that was?
Yeah, of course, because I don't care. I don't give a shit.
Fuck yeah, dog.
Brazzers, yeah, I don't care.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
So Brazzers bottom?
Yeah, so they took over, and the thing is in my contract, I stated specifically, I don't work a lot. I choose who I work with and what I'm willing to do because I don't do all the crazy stuff. I don't do anything crazy. I mean, I'm crazy in a scene, but I don't do all the crazy scenes. I don't do any of that crap. That's why I got mainstreamed, and that's why I got to do Playboy TV and crossover because I didn't do any of that
because
stuff.
You do host a lot of different shows. You host a lot of award shows.
Yeah.
I mean, you are, you know.
You got to keep it classy.
Well, you're one of the most recognizable.
Relatively.
Classy, I mean, technically.
It's a relative term.
You still are one of the most recognizable, adult film stars, I would say, of all time.
Wow.
I'm gonna go out there.
You just went right for it.
I didn't say it. No, I'm just kidding.
Made it awkward. Jeez.
And I'm just saying that you have, but you.
I'm one of the ones that's been around. I've been around for 14 years, and I'm still at the top.
I mean, I just
exactly.
I
That's
thought
what
you
I'm
just
getting
did
at.
softcore. I don't know what else you did.
Yeah. Okay.
So wait. I want to hear people. The big thing is we're about having awesome guests that are relevant and interesting and fun. So tell us, like you were there for 10 years, technically 12, and then what happened?
And then I went just to piss somebody off. I went to their opposing company, Jules Jordan. And I only done a couple films. Like I actually did literally I've had 3 films out. But I'm going to be I'm busy. I'm doing appearances and feature dancing, and then what is that smile for?
I just love it. I'm pretty busy. I'm doing feature dancing. Oh shit, sorry.
I am. I'm busy. So I don't have time to sit
feature
there and shoot.
Oh, never mind.
I don't have time to
So
shoot
a lot of girls in the adult industry.
I understand.
They
Pay a fee to show up and then.
Well, they literally shoot 5 times a week out of 7 days. Well, I don't want to. But the thing is if you're smart, it's called supply and demand. So the reason why I've lasted so long and at the top, I don't sit there and do anything and everything and shoot 300 movies in a year and then you get shot out. Why would you do that anyway? It's you're not creating a supply and demand.
Multiple scenes a day and stuff.
You got to put the pussy on a pedestal, which you've done.
That's right. My pussy's up there.
I thought it was down there. That's weird.
Yeah, it trained, it turned around.
It's crawled up.
It's crawled up. It went around. It's gone all over the place.
Okay, so you went to a couple different companies and you said you switched to Jules Jordan. Mm-hmm. And was that around the time Pirates was made?
Oh, God. No.
Pirates was made so why was that such a big deal?
Okay, so
bought it.
Pirates was made literally over 8 years ago.
Oh, shaded.
Pirates was made.
My ex-wife loved that fucking movie.
Oh my god!
No, it's the #1 movie in history of all times. It's the Deep Throat, which came out back in the day. It's the #1 selling that still sells to this day. Where we got mainstream. We were the first porn movie to get cut into a rated R version to Brit Blockbuster. So what was funny about that though? So I forgot that it was coming out. Because
people wanted to hear what you had to say.
Actually, they did. No, I swear to God, it's so weird. People still watch it on Showtime.
That I can't handle when you talk.
No, okay. So seriously? Oh, whatever.
I'm joking. That was too much. Sorry.
No.
Low blow.
But no, like seriously, like I wouldn't. I'm not gonna. If I watch porn, I don't want to listen to you talk. I just go straight to the thing. Like I get it. But
have you been in many of the softcore movies?
No, I only did one softcore film because after I signed a contract, they were like, "Wait a minute, you've never stripped or nothing or no nude photo shoots." I was like,
They wanted
"No."
to make sure you could like
So
get
they're
halfway
like,
there first.
"I need you to do a softcore film to make sure you're okay with this, to know what you're getting into." And they were like, "Don't worry, nobody's gonna."
Man, those are like some those are nice adult industry
that's
people.
Very different.
Usually people don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
They're like, all right,
So
open
I
your
did-
butthole. Here we go.
Three dicks.
I have to tell you, I did the most retarded one though. It was called the first Busty Cops, and I was so embarrassed. I was like, "Oh my god!" They're like, "Nobody's gonna hear it," because I had to be like super blonde. I could play their head. Let's go back to the Fortress of Bustitude, put our boobs together, and see what we can come up with. So I had to act like an airhead to say the stupidest things.
Must have
I
been
was
tough.
like,
So hard for you.
I was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I'm doing
Were
this."
you nominated for an Oscar?
No. But it was retarded, and I was like this. And guess what? It's the number one that they keep replaying, and I have to relive that. I'm like, oh my god. So I'll start getting stuff on my feed about that movie, and I'm just like mortified. I'm like, that's the most embarrassing thing that I've probably ever done, and I thought I'd never have to hear
Out
about
of
it again.
everything you've done, that's the most embarrassing.
So, wow. Yeah.
Yes.
So I have a question for you
It was
guys.
retarded.
And this is something that goes through my head all the time. When I'm flipping the channels and you go by Skinemax or whatever, and you see the softcore stuff. Now, I have a question for you. Does anybody actually get themselves off to that? Like, do you think old men at home actually can jack off that and ejaculate?
I honestly think so. Yes, because you know what?
I'm just desensitized. Because not in a million years, there's not one softcore movie that I could watch and go and be turned on enough that I could come.
So you know what it
Did
is?
I just say I could come on the radio show?
A lot of people are very visual, and so a lot of guys, like what I've noticed is a lot of guys and a lot of girls, especially girls like to look at women. We don't like to look at dicks. Dicks are ugly. Like, come on, listen. No girls going, well, except you're going to look at the size. You're like, hey, look at that. Like, he's packing. It's like,
Do you do the backhand brush when you meet guys?
Be like,
Oh, sorry.
Oh, whoops. Oh, sorry.
Okay, so with that said, what is your take on women masturbating to gay porn? Because I've heard that
Guy gay porn or women gay porn?
women masturbating man on man.
Okay, so you know what? I know people who do that.
I know a lot of women who do.
And
Wait, let her talk.
What's funny is actually, so I've watched it. I'm a very open person, so I'm down to watch anything, look at anything, and I am not a closed-minded person. But when I watched it, I was like,
Look at the smile on her face right
I was
now.
like,
She's getting happy.
but it's not. It just didn't really do anything for me. It was fine, just like looking at them all naked. And I mean, I have gay friends, so I don't take it wrong. But I didn't get off to a guy like sticking it in somebody's ass. So here's
the thing. Ian knows, anybody who grew up with us know, we're fighters and we all are, me and our friends, our group of guys are very touchy-feely. Like, we're not homophobic at all.
Yeah.
But I will say this.
I make out with all my girlfriends all the time.
I know. But what I'm saying is I don't care if it's not that I'm homophobic, but I don't care who you are. You can't tell me that two sweaty, hairy dudes pounding each other in the ass is as sexy as like two hot girls.
No,
even if you're a gay guy, you must admit, like, yeah, it's big, sweaty, smelly, hairy dude. Bear banging it out. It's like, oh, God.
Big bear on top of a little cub.
Even if you tell me it feels good and turns you on, whatever, but you can't tell me it's like as hot and sexy as two beautiful women.
Hot chicks is two hot chicks getting it on. So girls like it, guys like it. It's a thing.
Well,
it's a little bit more sensual.
We say that, but there's a lot. I guarantee you, there's a lot of girls out there who are very conservative who would tell you, like, I don't.
And you know what? I turn out a lot of those conservative
girls. Boy.
I twist them out. Those conservative ones are the freaks. Let me tell you, they're a freak waiting to come out.
Jessie's feeling good about herself tonight. Man,
they're a freak waiting to come out.
She must have had a good flight. I
had a great flight.
First class, a hot towel, champagne.
Yeah.
A little something. You never know.
God. So let's move on. Let's talk about. So you grew up in Texas and Oklahoma, or just Texas?
Texas and Oklahoma and Kansas.
And your parents were in the military. You were moved around.
Yeah, my dad was in the Air Force, so we moved around every 2 years or less. So when we moved to Oklahoma the summer before my senior year, I moved out my senior year, and I said I need a place to call home. I was like, and I moved out and stayed. I've stayed in Oklahoma.
Okay.
But I love Oklahoma because I'm a country girl. So we have a lot of land. So we get to ride this lakes. Let's go to ride on the boats, our dirt bikes,
You're a tomboy all the way. And you love going to the basketball games, I know.
I do.
She posts Snapchats
and the football
Instagrams.
games. Like, I'm a Boomer Sooner all the way. If I'm in town, I'm at the games.
Wow.
I will be at the 6 a.m.
A true
tailgates
tomboy.
with everybody.
So you were always into sports and into guys and athletes, and you were even a cheerleader.
Okay.
You're the prototypical cheerleader if I've ever seen one.
No, see, I was a cheerleader because I lived in Kansas and I used to play soccer. So there was no soccer team for me to play at where I lived in Rose Hill, Kansas, outside of Wichita. So I did it, but I liked the girls because there was nothing else to do.
We know you like girls.
Oh, yes, we know I like girls.
Wait, what?
Yes.
We already went over this.
Are we going back to that?
No, I'm just saying, like, the girls that I actually got to cheer with and stuff, it was like a sport and we were really good and, like, there was nothing else to do there. So it was a competitive thing. So we were winning NCAA championships and all this stuff. So it was like a sport. And so I liked it. And the girls were like, cool. Because there was half of them that were super girly. But then the other half were like, let's get drunk after practice or the game.
Well, a lot of people don't know.
And they were fun.
Cheerleading is actually like a relatively tough and dangerous sport. And I call it a sport because it's competitive and there's real injuries. I mean, those girls get dropped and get hurt a lot.
You break your
every year.
neck if you get dropped in the tumbling.
So this is a
like
weird
anything.
fact for you. Cheerleading is statistically more dangerous than mixed martial arts fighting.
Yes. More women have died, or more people have died in
And
cheerleading.
More girls have gotten hurt and had serious enough injuries that required surgery to fix than fighters per capita. Which is
I believe that. I believe
Catastrophic
that.
spinal
because
cord
girls get
injuries.
hurt all the time, right?
Yeah.
They get dropped and ACLs,
it's not fun.
ankles.
Yeah, ankles all the time. Ankles left and right. People like it was. I mean, but it was fun though.
You liked it. Look how happy you are.
I did like it. I will admit the tomboy self of I will admit that I did like cheerleading when I was a cheerleader. I had a good time.
Okay, so now let's move on. Now you've been hosting a lot. You've hosted a lot of AVN shows or award shows from the industry. You've also hosted TV shows on Playboy and stuff like that. And is that something that you love and you want to keep doing?
You know what it is? I got to do it. I've been did a lot of opportunities, been on MTV. I've done Entourage. Got to do movies like Starsky and Hutch and Baywatch and stuff like that. So I like that stuff, and I enjoyed it. But I like something different to do.
You were
I
in
don't
Baywatch?
like to do. I was.
Damn, you're old.
I am old. I'm like 36.
Shh, don't-
Hey, I look good for
I'm
my
gonna
age,
edit-
so I ain't
I'm
mad
gonna
at
have-
my age.
I'm gonna have them edit that out.
I ain't mad at my age.
So you love doing that kind of stuff, and you have other stuff kind of going on. You say you're busy. Now I know I don't think it worked out, but you launched a tequila line before.
I did, and actually, it's still like mine. I'm half owner of that, and I'm just fighting my partner on that.
What's it called?
For Dios de Tequila. I made flavored tequila, and we were doing really well until some people were shady and stealing money out of the account.
Wow,
That's why I'm in
wait
a
a
corporate
second.
battle for
Are
that.
you telling me that there's business people out there who take advantage and don't treat adult actresses fairly? Get the fuck out of here! I don't believe you. What
All these stories sound fishy.
a news
They
flash.
made you do a
That would
softcore
never-
porn before real
But that
dick.
had nothing to do with porn. That was the tequila
No,
I created myself.
He said that.
Wait, so
Yeah.
you
I
created tequila?
it. I created the flavors. I spent 2 years with, picking the distillery, all the
Okay.
mixologists trying to create flavors to make flavored tequila because I'm a tequila drinker. Well, most of my girlfriends
I know.
can't drink. He knows. He's been out with me a million times.
This girl can put it down.
And I can put it down. I'll put
Well,
guys under. But then my
not
problem is
always.
I fall asleep. I can fall asleep.
I wasn't going to tell the story.
I'll tell the story. I don't care. I admit I have nothing to hide. So I will put it down and I'm good for a good 2 hours pounding and pounding.
Yeah.
But I'm nonstop pounding, out drinking most dudes and everything. And I'm fine and they're hurting and everything. Then I'll be like this and you'll see my eyes get heavy. I'm like this. And they're like, okay, we got 5 minutes with Jessie before she's out like this. Or I've just gone like this, been like, and I'm out. I'm done. But then I don't wake up with hangovers. I'm up at 6 a.m. working out and everybody else is hungover. And I'm like, I'm good.
You got your sleep. You got your rest.
So
Get some hardcore sleep.
I literally one night
He had to pick
carried
me
her-
up and carry.
no, but not just like help her walk. I physically
Like a baby.
carried her a long ways. And I mean, I'm not going to toot my horn too much, but I'm an athlete. I can carry
You're
most
so
people. It's not
strong.
a problem. But when
You're
you're
so
wasted,
Yeah.
you're drunk.
You lose your
You're
breath.
wasted and you're dead weight.
I'm tired. Yeah, I can't carry that much farther, guys. It was
Somebody
hilarious.
help me. Somebody
I was
grab
like,
her
if I
feet.
was sober, this would be no problem. But we had like all of our good friends
We had
there.
all of our
So
friends.
I
We
had
had
to
a
like
good
pretend like I
group.
wasn't tired, but I was tired. I was like, I'm too wasted to do this. So I'm like,
That was a big group that night too.
yeah, that was that.
That's like when people want to wrestle when you're drunk.
Hey,
Get away
wait.
from
I
me.
remember that night
worst.
earlier that night too. What happened? Remember that person you hated?
Oh yeah. That's a long list, by the way. That's a long list. So let's touch on some other things. So you do have a son at home.
I do.
I see him in your. I can talk about him because he's in your social media.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
He's in your social media. So.
Yeah, he's 16. He's cute.
I can't believe you have a 16-year-old kid.
He's cute. Yeah, he's cute. And then I raised my niece. My niece is 7, and I raised her. She's been pretty much my daughter since she was 1. So I have a niece too who's cute. And just it's weird because now you know he's 16. He's junior in high school, and now that they graduated, so he'll be a senior next year. Like all the friends that always want to come over. Like I'm the fun house anyways because we have the basketball court, all that stuff. But I'm like this, and like when I had girls come to my house, some of my friends from here who are porn stars, and like all of a sudden all of his friends were there. And I'm like, okay, you need to go because I know
heads are just exploding.
Well, I know damn well while y'all are over here.
So that's what I want to ask. Like, no. How do you? So I mean. I grew up in Southern California. I grew up in LA, Orange County. I know a lot of girls have been in the industry. I've dated more than one girl who's been in the industry, several. And with kids and stuff, and I just wonder, like, so I'm not judging anybody. I don't think, because I've been around it enough. I get it. It's not what people think it is on the outside.
It's definitely not.
But when you have a child, how do you handle like? Now, have any of his friends said like, "Hey, I seen you, and I seen one of your movies online"?
Well, luckily, okay, I live in Oklahoma, so it's one of the only states you can't buy porn in. Okay,
well,
so there's no porn.
Who's buying porn anyways?
But I'm saying it's not advertised. You have hustler stores and porn stores here where it's advertised, or people's porn pictures are
in the microphone.
They're doing like strip clubs, advertising strip clubs or any adult bookstores. So you don't have that in Oklahoma because even we
have those here, and I've never been to one.
Yeah, so you don't have that, but you have to realize I've been with these kids since Ethan's been playing sports with them since they were 5 years old. So I'm like the mom to them. So they're like, this is You
100% are like the cheerleading soccer mom who wants to be at every game
when I'm in town,
and have to spend the nights at your house.
We do the spend the nights, or I'm like the one like when we're getting championships and kids are getting tired. I'm like, okay, if we win this game, we're doing pizza on me, or we're doing ice cream day, or
I get it.
So I've always been their mom. So you'd always wonder, of course, as a parent, is it going to affect my kids somehow? Is it going to be bad when they get old enough to realize and everything? And everybody thought it was so cool. So only one incident.
Wait. Who thought what was cool?
No. Like all the kids that think it's cool. They're like, oh wait, your mom's the porn star. Oh my god, your mom's. They think it's cool. So Ethan, he's a good-looking kid and he hangs out with kids anyways. But so everybody's like, oh, so the kids that don't know him, they're like trying to get to know him, and I'm like, okay.
I'm sure he's real popular.
I'm like,
I have no doubt about that.
Got a lot of friends.
And he's good with the friends. But honestly, because all the parents knew what I did, and I'm friends with half of his best friends' parents. And people come over for cookouts and they're just like, okay, so you're like a normal chick. You're not ever. I think everybody has the assumption that you're having drugs and sex at your house all the time. Orgies at the house, and you have porn everywhere.
That's why all the young boys are there.
One porn.
Interracial triple penetration going on right now.
At all times.
It's crazy. So
holes being stuffed.
I remember Ethan, so his freshman year, he was like this. He's like, Mom, I need to have a party to be like the cool kid right away when I go in school. I'm like, cool. I'll build a foam pit in our backyard and let's do a foam pit party. Nobody's
BMX
doing that. I was like, nobody's doing that in high school.
Fuck.
We throw a foam pit. So everybody is already heard the talk to the people who haven't played sports with them. They're like, wait. So half of the parents are like, if I let you go to that party, I have to go over there to make sure it's safe. And I'm like, well, half of you just wanted to come to meet me. I was like, don't play stupid. But half of them think that I'm not you. I guess you wouldn't be a parent. And they're like, I don't know what's happening there. I need to know what's happening. I'm just going to let the kids rage and do drugs and have sex everywhere. I'm like, what do you think? I was like, I am a mom. I was like, get whatever perception you have in your head out. I'm a mother too,
Have you ever had any of the dads? Because the kids are going to be
for
kids,
sure. The dads are so
any dads be fucking just super creepy where you just look at him and go,
yes.
really right now?
So that's an obvious question. So
yes.
But the question I want to know is, has anything like that happened in front of your son, and has he gotten involved?
That's what I mean.
No. My son is very cute because he's a mama's boy. So he's very cute when people are checking me out. If we're just trying to hang out at the OU game or we're at a Thunder game and people are like this, my son will go up to him, kind of he's a lover, but he'll be like a fighter. He's like in their face. So he's like, yo, something. And it catches people off guard because they're like, oh shit, I guess I'm staring pretty hard. And her son's like, yo, knock it off.
So I had kind of a similar experience growing up. So I grew up with a single mom, and my mom was a typical Southern California bleach blonde, bimbo with huge. My mom got huge tits in the 80s. Like now, every girl has boobs.
Right.
My mom got tits like in 84 or 83. She had big tits. So that was back before people had that. So like in elementary school and junior high, like every kid wanted to spend the night at my house, and every
You're the cool kid.
every kid's. But I knew why. And every kid's dad was like all staring at my mom. And I actually had a couple things. I had a couple weird experiences where like guys would like hit on my mom or be really aggressive or super rude. Because back then, like I said, it was before girls had tits.
Right.
So like if you had tits, people were like, "Oh, she's a whore." She does. I don't know, 80. Even not many did porn back then, but they thought you were a slut or a whore.
Negative connotations.
And dudes would say crazy shit.
But you want to know what's funny about that? The people that sit there, like when I like have sex on porn, I've always been in a relationship. You know what I mean? So
You've been married.
Yeah, I've been married. I've been in a relationship since I was like 17 years old. But the girls that always want to call out the girls being whores are the girls that are sleeping around with people that are at bars every night at the club trying to get free drinks and bottles and going home with every dude. I'm like, y'all have probably slept with a million times more people than I have.
We stay away from them.
Yeah, those are troublemakers.
No, yeah. I call them bottle rats.
Yeah.
But you know.
Ditch pigs.
So
when you're with all the club girls, I just laugh. So anybody, I've never cared what anybody thinks about me. I know who I am and how I am. I'm like this. I was like, you can have any opinion of me as you want. You're so
You're
wrong.
such a positive, happy person that like honestly, it would be difficult to like, even if you did something like horrible that like you couldn't deny, it'd be hard for me or for me to see anyone else talking shit to you or be like, you're fucking this and that, because you're so happy and positive. How can someone talk shit to her? She's so cute.
It's just so nice.
But I am nice, but people mistake my kindness as weakness, because if somebody tries to confront me, you've seen me, I will get in your face. I'm like, I'm not
psycho.
It's like I'm not I'm not afraid of anybody. I was like, I box for a reason. I was like, I will.
Here we go.
Oh, don't even start with me. Don't even start. No, I do that. I box for a reason.
I trained with Gio.
No, I'm not talking about that. Oh, why would you say that?
God, I can't stand him. I hope that guy gets hit by a car. He's so annoying.
Why are we bringing up that act?
Does he fucking train people in boxing?
No, but he thinks he's super tough, and he takes.
Why?
Dude, look. I just saw like somebody showed me. She showed me his girlfriend's Instagram, and I was looking at his pictures, but I'm like, he has like blue steel, and I'm like, does that guy fucking really look like that in normal pictures? Like, bro, get over yourself, bro. You got sleeves,
nice muscles.
You got a million tattoos. Like in a period of 2 weeks, you went from like no tattoos to sleeves, and I'm a long time lifelong badass at tattoos, and I've been lifting weights, and I'm gangster and tough. Like, no, bro, you're a pussy. You lift weights.
Well,
that's it.
you know, muscles make
Stop
you tough.
taking it, and you train.
But I ain't
chicks.
gonna lie, his girlfriend's really pretty. His girlfriend is really pretty. Like, I mean, whatever. I'm not a person that cares.
We just have to.
I appreciate
we have to beat
it.
up
so I
tough
don't sit there and dog people like new girlfriends or whatever. I'm just not that girl.
Ian and I like nothing more than to find people who think they're tough and let them realize that they're not.
And be like, oh yeah,
you're not that tough, bro.
You're so bulky. Your muscles are so nice.
Yeah. So I got lost when we were there. So I actually, let's go back to the story I was going to say. We're thinking about your son. So I actually had some experiences where people like said really like offensive, aggressive stuff to my mom as a child when I was like 12, 13, 14 years old. And I got in more than one fight with an adult at 13, 14 years old for guys grabbing my mom, or like a long time ago, this dates me, at the video store, DVD store, a guy grabbed my mom's ass. These two guys were pretty drunk, and my mom, like I said, typical beach mom, blonde hair, little halter top, big boobs, and these dudes were like, "Hey, baby," and grabbed her. And I was close to this big at that age. I was 6 feet tall when I was 12 years old. I attacked these dudes at the DVD store.
I've hit dudes before in the face. I'm not.
No, but I'm asking about your son. Like, has he ever been aggressive like that?
Well, luckily around my son, nobody kind of does that. Like I said, they stare. They have like really big stare problems, and Ethan's like really in their face and stuff. So I haven't had to deal with that. But when I do stores, like signings or appearances, I've had guys think it's going to be funny that they had their friends with the video camera, like on their phone, like, oh, I'm going to get this, because I'm going to go grab her ass, you know?
Yeah,
usually,
it's like, bro, you can't touch me.
That's probably
Don't
one of the
fucking
only
touch me.
times you're ever going to see me wear dresses, because I don't like dresses.
I've never seen you wear a dress.
I don't like dresses. It's not my
It's
thing.
funny just thinking about her wearing a dress.
And even now, I finally stopped doing that, even at appearances. Even on the red carpets for Avian, I am rocking like pantsuits. I'm like, I don't even
Look
care
like
anymore.
Hillary Clinton out there.
I like, ew, no, I don't. But they'll come and try to grab your ass. Well, I'm like, let's just
Yeah, that's
lie.
fucking rude.
I don't like to wear panties, and stuff, even if I wear dresses. And when you grab me, I've not been afraid, and I just turn around and I will. I will punch you in the face. I just don't care anymore.
People can get away with anything, but you touch me, it's a different problem.
That's not fair.
Especially a chick. Like I'm a 110-pound girl. You can't touch me.
I'm like, don't touch me. So all the girls let it happen and laugh it off. Like, ha ha ha. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm glad you like to be touched. So when you're like this, I'm just like, bam, I've hit him. Like the last show I just did in Germany, like this guy came up to me, but like went under my dress to do it, and I was just like,
he tried to pick you up like a
pretty much. And
bowling ball.
And it was so funny. My ex that you know now was there, and he's like, you would never do that, like thinking I like talk. I'm like, you've seen me. And this guy came and did it, and I just was like this, and I pushed him against the wall.
And your dude was there?
And he goes like this, and because of course he thought it was funny. He's like, and I was like this. The people I was signing at their booth, they're like, I think you're done. I was like, you're damn straight I'm done. You didn't stop this guy from going up my dress.
Yeah, the guy just stuck his finger in my butt.
I was like, I'm done. I was like, this is done. Like,
all right.
Who thinks that's okay? Some people are just stupid.
We are having a good time. We're going to keep Jessie around a little bit because we want to hear her opinion on things. And she's just so cute and nice
she smells like Skittles.
in her pantsuit. And now we have joining the show, Erik Aude. Welcome to the show, Erik.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me.
I'm so sorry you had to wait all this time. He looks irritated. He's like, man, can I get this shit over with and get out of here?
I've been up all day. I'm sure my girlfriend's more tired than I am because I took a nap today at least.
So for people who don't know, Erik is a stuntman and an actor, which a lot of people are crossing over. You're also a poker player. We'll get to that stuff later. And the most interesting sounding thing, and I hate to put you on a pigeonhole you, but you were on Locked Up Abroad. Tell us about it.
I was on Locked Up Abroad. This show's about foreigners getting locked up in different countries and telling their story. I was one of them. I was arrested in Pakistan.
Okay, well, let me ask the dumb questions.
All right.
What is an American person doing in Pakistan? Because
First and foremost,
even if I'm not up to some shady shit, why would I go to Pakistan? Why would someone go to Pakistan? I'm not being a smart ass. I'm being serious.
my friends that are from Pakistan are like, oh, let's go back to the motherland. Like, you're not taking you to fucking Pakistan, man.
And unfortunately,
You know people from Pakistan?
Yeah.
Well,
I have two good friends.
the thing that sucks is you only got 20 minutes left on the show, and I'm about to just crash
Okay,
course.
we'll shut up. Sorry.
I'm about to crash course through it, but originally the trips weren't to Pakistan; they were to Turkey. I was 19 years old when I went on my first trip. I was working for a leather courier company, importing expensive leather goods back into the U.S. And I was, I went in 99, 2000. 2000 when I was 19. I went into 2001 when I was 20, and I was right after 9/11. That a trip was actually supposed to be my brother's, and when he found out it was to Pakistan, he backed out. Well, I was the one encouraging these trips to all my friends. I thought it was a great opportunity for young people to travel around the world, importing expensive leather goods and getting paid for it.
A lot of boxing gloves and stuff like that come from Pakistan, correct?
Well, I don't know if they're boxing gloves, but things that get imported from different countries. China
MMA gloves come from Pakistan or something like that.
I don't know if they're made there, but the leather.
They said product.
Product of Pakistan.
So go on. Sorry.
I'm sure a lot of things get imported from different countries, but it's cheaper to make it elsewhere.
Yeah.
But
kids, you have to pay kids as much, apparently.
After 9/11, no one wanted to make trips anymore. My brother Peter, he's my older brother. He says, "I want to make a trip," and you were only getting paid $800, and normally the trips were to Turkey. Well, 10 days before his trip, he backs out and finds out it's to Pakistan. And my friend, who was a very good friend of mine, he gave me a guilt trip, and I didn't want to let him down, so I took the trip. And I found out the hard way that I was really being used to unknowingly smuggle narcotics.
What kind?
Opium. I was 21 when I was arrested.
If it's Pakistan, what did you have to ask?
I'm just asking. Yeah.
I mean, that's where poppies come from. Buddy.
I understand that. I'm just giving our audience a better picture here.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I found out the hard way what our job was really doing.
When you say smuggling, you mean like in your bag or in the shipment the cargo that you?
It was in the walls of the suitcase. It was so professionally hidden and built. If you emptied the suitcase, it looked like an empty suitcase. You would never know.
You didn't feel the weight of it, or is it only a couple grams or pounds?
No, it was 3.6 kg, which is 8.2 pounds. 8.2 pounds. And people are like, "How did you not know?" And I'm like, It's a suitcase.
When it's spread
I don't know
out,
how much.
so if it's spread out evenly, I guess
It was so thin. It looked, it was as thin as a newspaper. It was over the whole wall of the damn suitcase on the inside, professionally built. And this was my third trip. If I had been guilty, I wouldn't have encouraged this trip to my friends, to my family, my mother, my brother. And I sure as fuck wouldn't have been doing it. I was a gym rat. I was a working actor. I had everything going for me. I had nothing to gain and everything to lose by being a drug smuggler. And it makes sense that, I mean, since...
So take us, sorry to interrupt, but take us back to how was it discovered? Were you were at the airport, or when you landed, when you were trying to leave Pakistan?
Yeah. When I was trying to leave Pakistan...
You checked your bag? I mean, I don't know. What's the airport like there? Is it you walk up to a counter and hand them your bag?
The airport's like any other international airport. I mean, it's not clean, but they have their protocols. I was in customs line. I was taller than almost everyone by a good 6 to 8 inches, and I stood out pretty good. So there was a long line to leave for international departures, and I got called to the front, and I thought that was great because I didn't want to wait. I didn't want to wait in a long line. And guy goes through my luggage and goes through the luggage that I was hired to go through. And it wasn't just like, oh, you just go and pick up leather jackets. No, I had a manifest. I had to grade everything. Yeah. I mean, it was really legit, and I just feel stupid. Because when you're a kid, you're thinking, oh, this is the best job in the world. It's a dream job.
So did the people who found this stuff, did they know you were coming? Were they tipped off? Or did they just go,
possibly,
this guy's sticking out like a sore thumb. What the fuck is he? What's going on with this guy? Let's see what he's up to.
My theory actually is that, they were tipped off. Because normally when I would go to Turkey, I would have 2 huge suitcases that were just weighed down and they were really heavy. This time, when I went to Pakistan, I only had 1 suitcase. And instead of thinking anything was wrong, I was thinking, all right, cool. I don't have to be stuck lugging all the suitcases around. So I was looking at the positive of, it doesn't weigh as much. That's great. I think honestly what was happening, my theory is that it was tipped off. The person that sold my contacts back here in the States, the narcotics, probably told them, we sold them 15 kg. And so they charged them for 15 kg, really, and then they put 3.6 kg in there. That's my theory. Or maybe, maybe the guys at the Pakistani airport did a good job that day and they searched it, found drugs. And I'm glad that they found it, because otherwise I would have still encouraged these jobs to everyone. And if one of my friends had gone on a trip because of me and gotten arrested, I would have just felt awful. Yeah. I would have felt awful that I vouched for this and that they would get in so much trouble and possibly lose their life. If it had happened in Turkey, I probably would still be in jail to this day.
So tell me, okay, so they detect these drugs. Are you right there when they get it?
No, because they took it to another room and took me to another room. The only thing I was worried about was missing my flight. They were like all about
Bro,
this.
I got a flight to make. Yeah. Like, that's the least of your problems, buddy.
And so they searched they didn't search my luggage. They searched the luggage that was there to hard to get. And they threw all the jackets and everything on the floor. So I'm there for the jackets and the skirts. So I'm folding it nicely, cleaning them off. And I'm worried about, the leather goods. They take the suitcase into another room. I'm waiting in another room, just like my flight's leaving in like 40, 45 minutes. They come in and there's just a hallway full of guards, and they say, "What is this?" And the guy's holding the two things that he brought out. I'm like, he's holding it, meaning like he's the one holding it. He should know what it is. And the guy says, "This is all film." And I said, "Why are you showing me this?" He says, "This came out of your luggage." And immediately 2 plus 2 became 4. I knew right away I'd been fucked. I didn't like, oh. And I said something you never want to say when you go on a trip. I said, "I need to speak with the American embassy." They said, "Embassy can't help you. We're going to hang you after 5 o'clock prayer." And I freaked. I was scared. I was absolutely scared. They said that day I tried to escape. I didn't try to escape because where was I going to go? My only goal that day was
to walk to Turkey.
Yeah.
Walk to India.
My goal that day was to find a phone. And I heard a lot of guys finding a phone. I did find a phone. I barricaded myself in a hallway down the hallway.
Wait. So you did try to you kind of got moved to another room or something?
No, I got away. I busted through these guys. I was dragging them. Some guy opened up in the hallway with a Kalashnikov, shot the whole hallway up with other people in it. Everyone hit the deck.
Fuck yeah, this is awesome.
I busted through a door. At the end of the hallway and started barricading myself in the office. I got a phone while they're trying to get in. I was squat pressing the desk and everything against the door. They couldn't get in, but there was no windows, so I was stuck too.
Yeah.
I'm trying to dial anything to get out, but I can't get out. And the language
911 doesn't work over there?
Nope. 011, 411, nothing works over there. They couldn't get in.
They didn't have WhatsApp?
Yeah. Well, this is 2000.
I know, I'm joking.
This is 2002, so there's none of that crap. I wouldn't come out. They couldn't get in, but they got someone from the DEA, because the DEA is pretty big all over the world. And the DEA was there in a matter of, 30, 40 minutes. And they talked me out of the room. I wanted to talk to them, anyone American, absolutely.
Sure.
But the DEA didn't believe a word I said, because in their eyes, possession's 10/10 of the law. And I knew I was fucked right away. And they told me that, that they're not going to hang me. The guys were joking. And that made me look really bad, because like you tell a 21-year-old kid that he's going to get hung, of course I'm going to freak out.
Yeah, you're death. That's fucking different.
If you're 21 years old, you're in a not just a foreign country, but a really foreign country, and then someone says that, like, that's a fucking life altering moment right there. There's an epiphany. Like, oh fuck, my life's different now.
Yeah, it's not something you ever care to hear when you go on vacation.
So DEA comes. They talk you out of the room.
They talk me out of the room.
They weren't really that much help, and
they don't believe a word out of my mouth.
You go straight to jail.
Not quite. I told them everything I knew, and I said, look, okay, I understand you guys don't believe me, but other people are making these trips. At least give me some benefit of the doubt. You got to warn them, because so many people were making these trips. I was just the one that found out the hard way. So they didn't believe me, but for the next 3 days, I was tortured for information I didn't have. I was electrocuted. I was drowned.
This was by the Pakistani police or
Pakistani
military?
Pakistani Customs Police.
And when you say tortured,
I had the bottom of my feet beaten. I was asked questions. I was hung up by my arms, chained to the ceiling. I was beaten again, asked more questions. I was drowned.
Like shit out of the movies.
Yeah. In Pakistan, they do something called physical remand, and they figure if you're not going to tell them the truth, they can beat it out of you. So for 3 days, I was tortured for information I did not have. And on the third day, they simply wanted me to admit the drugs were mine. I never admitted anything. I wasn't fed during this time. I always thought,
Did you sleep?
No, I mean, I slept. I slept when they were tired. And
did they change shifts? Like, we're tired of beating on you, another dude coming in?
Yeah, they still had a job. They would show up 12 hours a day. I was theirs, and then 12 hours a day I wasn't. On the fourth day, I got brought to the biggest prison in Pakistan. It's a prison built in 1986, meant to only house 1,800 prisoners, but it was so overcrowded. It had over 6,000 prisoners in it, hundreds coming and going every day. Most of the countries in Africa and Europe were represented, but I was the only American there. Someone put a bounty on my head for 5,000 rupees at the time. That was $87. So my life was worth $87. And people tried to collect it time and time again. So the safest place they put me was on death row. I spent the first 9.5 months in jail on death row. And
now, did you even have a trial at all?
I had a trial. I went back and forth to court like over 40 times, but the legal system there is so corrupt.
Did they even have did they have a translator? Did you even know what was being said? Did you have a lawyer?
I had several lawyers, and it was like pulling teeth.
Did any of them even give a fuck?
They just wanted money.
Or speak English?
They spoke very little English, but they spoke more than they understood. No one seemed to understand me. Yeah. So I had to learn the language. I had a lot of time on my hands, so I was learning the language every day. I was learning anywhere between 20 to 40 words, doing flashcards. I was learning the newspaper. After 11 and a half months, the judges wanted to, it's very corrupt in Pakistan. So their whole thing is they keep pushing the case until you pay them. And the judges wanted $1,000 to give me a 2-year prison sentence. Had I done that would have been great. But I had to plead guilty, and I refused to plead guilty.
Because you didn't trust them. Like, hey, if I plead guilty, they might.
No. If you're guilty, you want to go to jail in Pakistan because you pay them off, you get a smaller sentence, you go home. Because I was innocent, I refused to plead guilty for a crime I didn't commit, and I was given one of the harshest sentences for something that I was charged with. Granted, the judge could have given me death because it's up to the judge. He can give you anywhere from a year to death. It's a big window.
That is wild.
But for people that were going to jail for 5 kg of hashish or heroin or even 5 tons of hashish, they were getting like 3 to 5 years because they would pay the judge off. And because I refused to pay the judge, I was given a 7-year prison sentence. And I would have stayed in there 7 years, but I got myself out in 3 years. It took me, I had to become a lawyer in Pakistan. It took me 6 months to do it through the correspondence courses. And really, if you can read and write, you can be a lawyer in Pakistan. It's not that difficult.
Yeah. You did it in 6 months.
I had to bribe the right kind of people, and I had to represent myself in court.
So how did you bribe people? So do you have family or friends that were sending you money? Were you able to communicate with anyone?
I was able to communicate with my mom outside, but no one came and visited me. I didn't want anyone to come visit me. I didn't want anyone to come to Pakistan.
How did you communicate with your mom? Letters?
Letters. I got a cell phone smuggled into the jail. I was the first one to do that because Pakistani people are very very poor. And a cell phone was like 12,000 rupees, which is $200, and that's like 2 months of work, hard work for these people. So I took a gamble, and I got a phone smuggled into the prison through some corrupt guards, and the phone worked. And by doing that, I would rent my phone out. Eventually, I started getting other phones in, selling them to the other prisoners. I started getting VCD players in, food. I started running poker tournaments in prison.
Well played. Sir.
I was the guy you came to if you needed something in jail.
You were the American. Hey, the Yankees here. He's got drugs.
This is getting better. All right. So you served 3 years. You were sentenced to 7. You served 3.
Yeah, just under 3 years. 2 years, 10 months, 15 days. I got myself out, and when I got out, I felt richer than anything. I lost all my money, lost everything I had before I got out, but I felt richer than I'd ever been before I went in, because you start to realize what's important in life.
It puts life into perspective, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. Food tastes so much better. Water's gold. You never know how awesome water is. I got back into. I was able to get back into acting almost immediately. Friends started throwing me stunt gigs left and right to help me get back. But one thing that really helped me get back on my feet was something that I had learned while in jail, and that was playing poker. And my first week back, I went to the Hollywood Park Casino, and I had $100 that was given to me by a friend, and I had no other money to my name because my family wasn't helping me out. But I was able to turn that $100 into probably close to $6,000 in the first week. And wow. I had my place, I had a car, and I haven't looked back.
The American dream right there. You fucking come out of jail in Pakistan, a country that hates you specifically for your white skin, and you beat the system there, which, okay, well, you got fucked, but you became a lawyer, you got out, and you come back here, and you live a good life.
So can you practice law here? No, I'm just kidding.
Sure, I'm sure I could, but that's a very fast version of a very long story.
Yeah, of course. We could spend 2 hours, I'm sure. I mean, I have a lot. There's a lot of questions in my head. I'm thinking about, like, what did you eat? Did you get any water? Was it brown? Was it green? Was it piss? Was it rain? Like, I could just imagine. Like, I mean, you talking about read the newspaper, having flashcards, and being able to communicate with people. I mean, that was more than I thought you would add in Pakistan.
Well, I mean, if there's a will, there's a way. If you're thrown in a sink or swim situation, I was jet skiing.
You're a winner. That's what it is. You're a winner, man. You conquered a really crazy situation.
So tell us. I know you're still playing poker. Do you play like on one of the tours or some of the bigger tournaments?
I play for a good living of my life. I've been playing since I got back, and I've invested in 8 different bars around LA. And poker's like in the entertainment industry, you can't. There's no one who's a full-time actor or a stuntman. You have to have a side gig, and I'm lucky that poker is my side gig, and that's allowed me to invest in bars, which has allowed me to continue to, do what I love, and that's act and do stunts and stunt coordinate. I can honestly retire right now if I wanted to and never work again, and it's great.
What an amazing transformation and transition from being a kid, getting fucked, getting taken advantage of. Being in that situation where a lot of people let's be real. A lot of people just wouldn't make it home.
Just roll over and die.
Yeah, they would give up, they would kill themselves, or they'd get taken out pretty quickly.
But before I went over there, I probably would have been one of the people going, God, I don't know what I would do. And now that I've gone through it, I'm like, well, okay, everything's so much easier. Like I remember I saw the movie Return to Paradise with Vince Vaughn and Joaquin Phoenix. And it was where that one guy goes, he's in jail, and his friends, all they had to do was go back and take some of the sentence. Otherwise, they were going to execute Joaquin Phoenix. And I remember seeing that movie going, I don't know if I could do 2 years for a friend. Now I'm like, I could easily do 2 years. That's a damn nap. Your people are a lot stronger than they realize when put in the same situation. I hope people are never put in the same situation, but I'll give you a small example. When you jump into a very cold pool and it's freezing, but you swim around a little bit, all of a sudden the water feels good. You adjusted so quickly. You can adjust to a lot. when put in the same situation, your body's a lot stronger than you realize, and your mind is your most powerful weapon. So if you were, I mean, I hope you never have to go through what I went through, but you guys can all handle a lot more than you realize.
I don't know. I'm a pussy. I feel like after this conversation, I feel like
I'm
a pussy.
a spoiled bitch.
I'm not. I mean, I thought I was tough, but I'm not that tough. Now let's switch gears a little bit. Tell us about poker. I want to know who are some of the best players, and I want to know about Dan Bilzerian. From what I'm told, well, I know some certain facts on him, but from what I'm told, he's not nearly the poker player he makes himself out to be. And I know a lot of guys who are high level poker players who say he's a joke, and they love nothing more than to play with him because they get to take his money.
No, I've never played cash game with the guy because obviously he can just go into his pocket and rebuy. But I played a tournament with the guy, and it was it was only a $1,500 buy, and I had him at my table, and I busted him. That was the only time I ever played with him. And he got up from the table and he's like, I could buy you 10 times over. And I was like,
he said that.
Yeah.
He's such a douche.
Yeah. And I was just laughing because, I mean, it's like, I mean,
I still beat you, bitch.
Well, that's why I like tournament poker. Because
so just
doesn't matter how rich you are. If you bust out, you're out of the game.
I make fun of him every time I see him. I call him Frodo every time I see him. Hey, look, it's Frodo.
Like you met him a couple times?
Several times. I mean, we have lots of friends that are friends of Jesse. You get on the microphone. I don't know if you've had any interaction with him.
I'm so fascinated with the story. I'm just sitting back like, just wow.
So, I mean, a lot of he's around a lot of our friends all the time, and he's cool with a lot of our friends, and he didn't do anything to me, but I just think he's just ridiculous. So I make fun of him because he's about, we like to make fun of people who think they're tougher than they are. The dude's about 5'4", sorry.
He buys all the girls that are always around him.
He's a little bigger than
the dude thinks he's a monster. It's also funny because he portrays himself as being a former Navy SEAL and an operator, and he was never.
Why would he do that? That's stolen valor.
He wants to sound tough and cool, right? Yeah. So he just
likes guns that much.
Now I don't think he's ever said I was a SEAL, but he has this. I don't know. He acts like it, or maybe he has said it. I don't know.
In that movie, he was.
But I know. Well, we'll get to the movie thing later. I know that he portrays himself as an operator and a SEAL, but he never was. He went to Bud's training. He didn't make it. Now, my cousin is a MARSOC commander. Do you know anything about the military?
No, unfortunately.
MARSOC is the highest level of special forces in the Marines. My cousin, he went to the Naval College. He's an officer. He's a MARSOC commander. And he's now moving to Force Recon. They have a ceremony in 2 weeks in North Carolina where he's being handed an entire battalion of Force Recon, and that's gangster motherfuckers.
Legendary shit.
Dudes who go out and kill people at night, and that's what they do every day. I mean, I don't know how many, but my cousin, I mean, in his words, he's eliminated a lot of targets. That's how you know someone's killed a lot of people. When they don't talk about, we got in a firefight, I shot this guy. He's like, well, yeah, that day our team eliminated a lot of targets. Like that means they killed a lot of people. So anyways, all the operator guys, they have a real issue with him portraying himself as an operator, as a special forces guy. And I know
they called him out on it
on sets of movies because Dan,
he was a lone survivor.
He co-produces
his way on.
So he because he funds movies, and part of the deal is if I help pay for your movie, you have to put me in it.
I would do that too if I had the ability. Yeah, here's $1 million. Give me a part.
So he does that stuff, and he's on the set, and I from what I'm told, multiple operators have gone to him and be like, "Yo, stop fucking acting like you're one of us. You're not, bro." And of course, I mean, what's he going to say?
Take off the khaki shorts.
Bro, take off your boots. Take off your boots. Shave that thing in your face. Stop paying fucking girls $250 to hang out and take topless pictures with you, bro.
He's I don't know.
God bless him for that part.
Right?
I mean, good for him on that, and you have it do it.
Just because I don't like him, who cares? Fuck, that guy's winning as far as I'm concerned. I think he's a douche, but fuck it, he's winning.
I wish I was in his shoes.
I mean, you can't be mad. You can't be mad at it. But I just love the girls.
Money and whores.
But I just love the girls that are just like, oh no, and I'm like, honey, you were paid to be there, and you were just easily for like that.
You mean to tell me it's not love? It's not
cool like this. I just laugh, and they're like sitting there, or they'd be like, I never do that, and then all of a sudden I see him one of the dance pictures. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I was like, thought you never do that.
Well, do you know where his real money? You know where he actually got his money?
I've heard his parents.
So his
it's not from poker.
His father was
bullshit.
His father was a very, very famous. He was involved in a very famous scam where they frauded old people, people out of the retirement funds of hundreds of millions of dollars, and then they got caught. And his dad rolled over on all his partners and got a lesser term, hid some of the money, and then Dan Bilzerian, from what I'm told or what I've read, he inherited money that was stolen from like retirement people's funds through fraud, and that's how he got his start. Then got involved in poker, and then started doing all the other things to build his social media following. And now here's where he is.
You know, the IRS couldn't come after that.
But again, I'm talking shit. I think the dude's a douche. But who cares what I think? That guy's winning. Fuck.
He
He's
has
got
a
money,
good
horses, and
life.
drugs.
He's in charge.
He has a
having a good
great
time.
life. He has a great life,
Yeah.
but he's such a douche.
I mean, I'm not a hater,
Like,
but
I
fuck,
hate when
he's doing
people are
great.
like, oh, I'm like, come on.
Everybody that I know that has spent time with him goes, yeah, you two should never hang out. I'm like, why?
Well, you know, he's had.
Because especially being sober, you'd be fine. You have some fun. It wouldn't really be
you
friends.
Know he's had 2 heart attacks from doing blow, like he talks about it.
Yeah.
I got so fucked up with so much coke, I said my heart started palpitating. I had a heart attack.
Yeah, and I've never met him, but everyone always goes, yeah, and then you guys would get fucked up and you'd probably punch him. I'm like, oh, well,
Yeah,
I probably shouldn't hang out with him.
He'd get beat up if he spent 12 hours with me, you and Chuck, 100%.
At least one of us is punching him.
He would not make it through the night, I'll tell you right now. But Eric, your story is
It's incredible.
fucking awesome. And man, every single guest we had here today,
I've never heard anything
every
like
single
it.
guest we had here today, I want you guys back at some point in the future. We do this every week.
Yeah,
Here
for
on
sure.
Dash
You get to be
Radio.
on
I
the
want
other
you
half
back
of the
in the
show.
future. I want to hear more details when I don't have to keep you up so late. And Aaron, don't be mad at us. Thanks for coming to American Animals with Erik Aude, Ian McCall. All of our guests today, Cole Miller.
Yes.
Man, Terrell Owens, not Terrell.
Terrell.
Jesse. And Eric, man, we have some great guests. Thanks for checking us out on Dash Radio.
Yes,
for Ian
thank
McCall,
you guys very much.
I'm Erik Aude, American Animals. Check us out, 2 American Animals on all your social media. Peace in the Middle East. Shoots.
This podcast was a presentation of LightUpMedia.fm.